about the atmosphere here in Box Park? It's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm going to bring all these fans back to North Carolina so they can cheer for the Tar Heels. This is amazing. I'm so excited about this game.
Let's have a word on the game. How do you think the game is going to go?
Oh, Man City's going to win. At least 5-0. Let's go. Let's do it. Then we're going to party all night.
How did the Manchester City journey start for you?
What?
How did the Manchester City journey start for you?
Well, it started with my youngest son. He liked Man City because it's the same colors as North Carolina, and then I grew to love it. And we've been fans since.
Absolutely love it. And let's talk about North Carolina as a whole.
Yeah.
What's the Manchester City representation like in North Carolina?
Well, it's the same way as Man City. I mean, every year we got to win a national championship. We were really good this past year. We fell short. We were one of the better teams in the country.
And of course, we're going to be on a US tour in the summer. Are you going to be joining us?
Yes. Man City's coming to North Carolina.
We will be in it.
So they'll be right there. So they're coming to North Carolina, so I can't wait to see them.
And what do you think the score is going to be today?
The score today? 5-0.
5-0?
Yes.
And who's your favourite Manchester City player? Who do you think is going to be scoring today?
Haaland, at least 3.
Listen, it's an absolute pleasure to meet you. I hope you bring us the beginner's luck, and I hope you come to many Manchester City games, and best of luck.
Thank you for having me and my son. It's really appreciated. It's awesome to meet you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much to FG there and everybody at Box Park. Love you, Hubert, already. Hubert's saying that we're going to win 5-0. 5-0. I said 4, but I'll take 5. Go on then. And it would, of course, top off what has been an incredible week for the club. If we were to win today, we'd become the first ever team to win back-to-back doubles, so FA Cup and League. But, of course, last weekend we won the Premier League title for the 4th year in a row, becoming the first ever team to do 4 in a row. 136-year history of the football leagues. And we did it 4 times in a row. And do you know what's even more remarkable about that? Something that I read in the week that just blew my mind. 10 players at City have won all 4 of them, have been present for all 4 of those victories. Walker, Diaz, Stones, Aki, Rodri, De Bruyne, Bernardo, Edison, Carson and Foden have all been a part of it. And do you know what blows my mind even more, Sean? The ones that have joined and won the Premier League every year since they've been here. Like Ruben Diaz doesn't know anything but winning the Premier League.
Yeah, it's amazing. It just shows you that, you know, the players that are there past that what the club's about, you know, the importance of the standards. They just pass it on. Ruben Diaz comes in and straight away you see after about 3 months, like, this guy's a captain. He's a leader. He just leads by example. And he just comes.
How are you feeling?
Very good. A very proud moment for all of us at the club because 4 in a row had never been done before, and a big record for all of us, and we're so happy.
Psychologically, what does it take, Bernardo, to get from the high of doing that, the achievement and everything else that goes around that, which is just such a monumental task, to refocusing again and getting yourself set and being prepared in the right way for a game like Saturday?
It's not difficult, to be honest, because it's a massive game. It's against one of our biggest rivals, a derby. We know how important it is for the club, for the fans especially. So we want to win. We want to win again, and we're going to be prepared. We have a few days to see the way Man United is playing, to prepare, to work on what we're going to do, and try to do our best to win another final.
I always find these kind of games really interesting because I wonder, and we have our own opinion, we've not played in one, you have, about does it feel different? The build up to these games, you have people like us coming over and chatting to you, and there's a bigger, I guess, interest in it. But does it feel like a different game when you're there and you're part of it?
Yeah, final is always a different game, it's always a special game. Of course, with experience and with the amount of important games that we play, it gets a bit easier in terms of dealing with pressure and this kind of stuff. But it's always a final, it's always special, and it's always a big moment for all of us.
Do you like that? Do you like the pressure that comes with it?
Well, we've been dealing quite well with the pressure in the past, so I think it makes us more alert, and we play better. We feel like we cannot give an inch to our rivals, and everyone is so focused. So it's been working quite well for us in the past year.
It has, and particularly in the FA Cup. Take me back right to the Watford game, if you will. And I'm trying to get
the Watford game. That was 5 or 6 years ago, wasn't it? So that was the last game of the season where we won 4 trophies: Community Shield, Carabao Cup, and Premier League. So that was the 4th trophy of the season, and it was a great day for all of us. I remember. The atmosphere was unbelievable. The team achieved the quadruple that season, and it was one of the best seasons ever for this club.
I'm really interested as well in the manager's approach to games like that. Do you remember, and I wonder if it's changed in any way, what he demands of you in terms of mindset going into games specifically like that, like the FA Cup final? What does he say to you? What does he do?
Well, I think the most important thing in these games is prepare us mentally for any scenario. So, in that game, we solved the match quite quickly. So it wasn't needed that much effort in terms of mental strength. But if you look at some other games, you never know what's going to happen in a final. They might score first, you might score and they might equalize, or you might be down 2-0, for example, like we were against Aston Villa in the last game of the season in the Premier League. So this kind of dealing with those situations, and always believe and always be strong and always think that we can still go after them even if things don't go well, and dealing with about moments especially, that's the most important thing in these games.
Is that what makes it easier? Because you've got the scenarios prepared? If you feel more prepared mentally in terms of what could happen, you feel more in control? Is that fair?
Yeah, it is in a way, and because we've been together for so long, it also helps the experiences that we had in the past. We know how the team has to react when things don't go well, and that helps, knowing that I know how my teammates are going to react because I've been playing with them for so long. What my manager wants from me, so that everything together, it helps.
Is that part of what Pep does? And we've spoken so many times, and it's been discussed so many times about the culture that he creates. Is part of that, and I guess one of the biggest parts of that, trust within each other, within teammates, but also him trusting you to deliver?
Well, yeah, we've been together. Pep has been here for 8 years almost. Me personally 7, so it's a long time together, and he knows how competitive we all are. We know how demanding he is, and we know what to expect from each other. So that trust that you were talking about between the players and the staff, I think it works very well. And the way that he trusts us to make some decisions on the field, and that we know we follow his game plan always and believe until the end on what he tells us to do, that's very important for things to work out.
So this time out, it's quite similar to last time in terms of facing, your rivals again. Does it feel as though they're a different opponent this time?
Every game is different, and every season is different. We lost some players, we changed some players. They also did. They're in a different part of this in terms of morale and in terms of confidence, and we as well. So it's always difficult. We don't know what to expect from them. They don't know what to expect from us. It's a final is a final. It's our biggest rivals. They know that they didn't have their best season, so they must feel like they can, in a way, compensate a bit if they beat us in a final. So they're going to be very motivated. So we expect a very tough game.
And the possibility of a double against them. I mean, I know we spoke about your celebrations. They're not quite there yet, but what would that mean as a personal achievement?
Again, another extra motivation to go after and to try and go after a new record. And we're very motivated and looking forward to that game because we really want to get this double for the club and for the fans.
When you've achieved all the things that you've achieved, right, with Manchester City, at what point do you think, right, what else is there to do, and how do you keep that motivation going?
Well, it's in the moment. I think that when I arrived here 7 years ago, my dream was to win the Premier League, one Premier League. I never thought that I would, after 7 years, I'd won 6 in 7 years. And but then you win one, and you want the second one, and then you want the third one, and you always set new records. And maybe now this team, what we're trying to create here is a legacy, is something that would be remembered for a very, very long time. And now we're in a point where we can be remembered as one of the best, if not the best team in English football. And if we can go and grab that, we'll definitely will go after that. So it's not over for us, and we want more.
I know you signed an extra year here as well. I think it's 2026. Does that make you think, right, I want to be here longer because I want to have is there a certain number in mind that you think, right, I want to do 9, I don't want to do 8?
No, I have 6 now Premier Leagues, and what I look forward to is to always win another one. I'm not looking much forward to trying and get 8, 9 or 10 or whatever, because that doesn't work that way. It's so tough to win this competition, and right now I'm very focused in winning another FA Cup.
8-1 on. That means you've got about $8 on to win just $1. United coming in at 9-2. No surprise, I suppose, given the form of everyone. Everyone's going for a Manchester City net. Craig is going for goals galore.
One more than you.
4-0.
Don't try and pick me.
4-0. I just want to get Naden before we run out of time with Naden. What sort of game are you expecting, Naden?
I'm expecting United to try something a bit different. I think in recent weeks they've tried to play a formation which features lots of people going through the middle. You know, that's why we've seen Haaland at times be on the bench. So maybe that'll be a way for them to, you know, possibly cause Man City some trouble. But I think the way that City play, they've seen that. You know, the players, as the interview went with Alexis and Kyle Walker goes, you know, they don't feel the same pressure as they did last year, where obviously they played well enough to win it, but it wasn't their best version of themselves. Whereas I think for these guys now, they've achieved the goal that they wanted more than any other, which was to win their 4th Premier League title in a row last weekend. I think in this, the pressure's going to be off. They're going to play with a little bit more freedom, and I think that makes them a very, very dangerous side. So I think United obviously will have a go with the players that are back. But in the end, I think everyone's leaning City because they know the quality that they have is there. And this occasion feels very different to a year ago where we can probably see a better version of them.
Did Naden actually say that?
What's that?
Very, very dangerous side.
Well, he's trying to build it up, isn't he? That's it.
Seriously? I mean, Manchester United at Old Trafford, even though they've won most of the games there, haven't been good. But away from home, they've been rotten. They've had 2 decent results away from home all season. A 0-0 draw with Liverpool, and they beat Villa 2-1. The other games they've won are against Sheffield United, Burnley, teams like that. And away from Old Trafford, they have been absolutely awful.
And then, of course, add to that, given Manchester City have run riot pretty much every year.
I mean, seriously.
The only thing that beats City tomorrow is City.
Right. If they don't turn up.
If they don't turn up, if they are wasteful in the final third, then they'll create a lot of chances. They'll dominate the game. The game will be pretty one-sided, I would imagine, with United looking to do what they've always done in this fixture in recent years, is play on the counter-attack. So if they're wasteful in the final third, and a bit sloppy at the back, that's kind of where you could, paint a picture of a United possible win. And it has happened before. I mean, even in Solskjaer's time, they've been. Yeah. It's a few years ago now when they went to Old Trafford. Etihad pretty much got battered, hit them on the counter attack. It's not something unusual, but this City side, I don't see them. They're not the kind of team that when they're standing over you with their foot on your throat to feel sorry for you. They're not that kind of team.
There's been a lot of talk, as Craig mentioned, about Marcus Rashford over the past few days, given his omission from the England squad. Speaking ahead of the game, his goalkeeper very much backing the Englishman.
Rashford, how many goals he scored last season?
30.
Rashid, how many goals he scored this season?
17.
We are talking about the same player, no? He's a bad player. So last season he was good. This season is bad. No, it's just a moment. You can have a bad season. You can have a bad start. But the most important thing is how you end. And Rashid, for me, is one of the best players in the world. But he's facing difficulty like us. But not only him and me, but the whole club. And he will come back, and I know my killer will score some goal, some important goal for us, and hopefully Saturday he scored 2 and we win the FA Cup.
How many goals he scored last season? Lots. This season, not as many.
Tell you what, he looks very happy for a man that's playing the bad team, doesn't he?
Well,
I think he's missing the big picture here, isn't he? Which he's not going to say it. Is like everybody can go through a period where they're hot and cold. And last year, by the way, and we see this with a lot of players, he was in contract negotiations. And he posted the most magnificent numbers, as you can see. And it's nobody's fault if you can't do that the second year on the spin. Listen, you can't criticise a player for that. That sometimes can happen. What you can criticise him for is something that many have for a lot of games this year, not them all. There's been some where he's buckled down. The Liverpool games have been one of them, where he turned up. And not that he did anything special in the games, but he worked hard. Now, that's the first thing. When a manager wants his players all singing from the same hymn sheet, it's a work rate. And we can talk about Rashford's form all we want and say, well, last year he was great and this year he hasn't scored the goals. But he hasn't worked hard enough for his team, for his manager. He's sauntered around. He hasn't tracked back like he should have, and he has not clearly had the same effect going forward. And it's not just me. Everybody has noticed it.
Is that fair, Kieran?
And, to expect one player to just put the whole team on his back in this team and then take them to a Premier League or an FA Cup, those days are gone. You don't get those teams anymore when you can just rely on one player. We all see the standards that are being set by these top teams now and what it takes. It takes a whole club to achieve things, from staff outside of the pitch to players on the pitch. But Craig's right. I think where he's let himself down this season are his effort levels in some games, more than anything. Bad seasons happen.
There's ways to not succeed, right? But as a professional player, the only one that's not acceptable is when people are questioning your work rate. That's it, full stop. Listen, you can score 30 goals one season, maybe you get 15 the next. But if you're working your tail off, things are not quite going for you, nobody is going to have a particular problem with it. Yes, they want more, but they won't have a particular problem with it. But the fact that everybody's talking about the same thing, about work rate and effort, a professional player, I don't think there's a worse thing to be put on your doorstep than being told by people that you're not working hard enough. That's unacceptable.
I mean, he would have been, to be honest with you, he might have made the England squad with those numbers. If he'd been running around and working hard, and Southgate might have taken him. Said, well, I know it's in there, but he doesn't want a player who's out of form and has been lazy. And if I leave him out, which, by the way, he wouldn't start for England because they've got a lot of players in the forward area, I don't want him moping around. So now I've got a guy who is just not going to be any good to me. And by the way, when we go back to work rate and posting numbers, look at his opposite. Look at the opposite players tomorrow. There's a bunch of players in that City side that have been posting numbers like this, or consistency like this, for several seasons. But they don't come in the next season and say, by the way, big contract, chucking it, team are struggling. Every one of them, whether it's Kevin De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, Rodri, Kyle Walker, all these experienced players who are winning everything, are winning a lot of things, they probably, every time you see them the next season, they're working even harder than the year before, because that's the standards. It's the standard of the manager, it's the standard of the players. Rashford's standards, and he's not alone at Man United, but he's a big fish there. His standards, both with the ball and without the ball, have dropped substantially.
Nathan, before we let you go, your final thoughts on this?
No, I think these things are completely fair, and as Stevie said, to have that accusation levelled at you is a terrible thing, because realistically something that someone should never ask you to do is to work hard, because it should be expected that you will be working hard anyway. It's such a competitive league, such a competitive football club in general. Like, that has to be a standard, and I think, as Craig said, with mentioning all those players on the other side of that field tomorrow for Man City, however hard they work this season, they know to be successful, and the next they have to work harder again. And for Rashford, his form, unfortunately for him, the bad form is extended throughout the entire season. Seeing him outside of that England squad now, I'm sure, will be devastating to him. But now the eyes are on him even more. How will he react? He's obviously got this game today, but then he's got the next season to prepare for as well. And this is a very important time in his career, because if he gets this section wrong, you know, there goes all the potential of what was going to be one of the greats for Manchester United.
Reports all around the world suggesting that Ten Hag will be sacked after the FA Cup final tomorrow, regardless of the result. Deja vu, says the front page of the Dutch sports newspaper, because of course Van Gaal won the FA Cup and was sacked 2 days later at Manchester United. For more on this, Kieran is with us, as is Frank Lepuff. We'll kick things off in the studio, Craig.
Must be a Dutch thing.
That's it. Blame the Dutch.
They just hate the Dutch people at Manchester.
That's it. Blame it all on the Dutch.
I don't think, you know, for anybody that was out there thinking that supports Man United, and I don't know if there's anybody that was thinking along these lines of what if they win this game and will he save his job? But there's a real long game to this, isn't there? You know, rather than, you know, think back to Roberto Mancini beating Man City in 2013 and Wigan got relegated. You know, there's a bigger picture here, and that is it's just not been good enough. The other side of it is, should they have addressed this a long time ago and not have it leaking out, you know, a couple of days before a cup final? Yeah. But they were probably thinking, we'll try and keep it hush-hush and we'll wait till everything's over and then we'll announce it. But like everything else at most clubs, and especially Man United in the last few years, they leak like a sieve. They can't keep anything. So it's a shame in somewhat that he's having to go into this game facing all these questions, but I think he already knows his fate. And United need to move on, but quite frankly, I think his time is up there, unfortunately.
Are you wearing orange as a tribute to him today?
Yeah,
well, that's
I feel bad
very
for him.
fitting.
I feel bad for him.
Do you think he knew already?
He has to know, although he officially hasn't been told by MD. Because, you know, he's walking around the corridors, and people are walking past him and giving it one of them, not to look at him. I mean, it's not a surprise. It surely shouldn't be a secret. And they should have done that. They should have... The best thing for the team would have been if they'd turned around on Monday morning and said, look, Erik Ten Hag's not going to be here. We wish him all the best for the final. And everybody... They might have just taken the air out of the situation. Maybe everybody would relax a little bit and go and try and do what they've got to do in the cup final. Instead of waiting for a couple of days, as Craig said, it leaks out, big surprise. But it's the right decision, if indeed that is it, which it will be, because there are absolutely no reason whatsoever why anybody should keep Ten Hag at Man United.
He gave a speech, didn't he, in his last home game, after the game, which I think was a little surprising to see him do that. But looking at it at the time, you know, I think most people were thinking he knows what's happening, and so he's addressing the home crowd and thanking them for the support.
Kieran, how does this affect the players, if at all, going into tomorrow's game?
I actually think it removes the pressure in a way. I think it takes the attention away from the players more. You know, before it was that Ten Hag's job was dependent on the players' performance or result, whereas now, you know, that's not the case. The writing's on the wall and the players can just, you know, go out there and focus on the game and themselves and play more free. As for Ten Hag, ultimately, you know, it is a tough one. I don't think he's been given the chance to show what he's really capable of. He's had so much off the field problems to deal with. He never really got time to play a full strength team or connect with the fans. He's been picking up the pieces since he got there, really. So it's hard to judge his tenure there.
By the way, that's not a green screen behind Nadim. He's genuinely standing outside Wembley at, 10:30 on a Friday night. What a treat for him. How do you think the fans will receive this news, Nadim?
I think it'll be mixed, to be honest. I think the point that Craig was making about the fact that it's leaked, that will feel like a sort of sense of embarrassment as such. But then there are tons of United fans who would be happy to see him leave. But again, that sense of embarrassment in terms of this coming out the day before, you know, the cup final against your big rivals from the same city, I think it is a bit of a funny situation to be in. And I think if I could piggyback on what we were just saying then from Kieran, I think Craig mentioned earlier in the show about how Man City had a similar situation with Mancini in 2013 or 14 against Wigan. And I think that day, what's different compared to today is the fact that United in this game are underdogs. So I think at times the fact that, you know, the manager is going to be on his way out, it feels to me like maybe some of the players will be more comfortable with that. And so they do arrive in the game tomorrow with no expectations upon them. And there will be a great sense of freedom, I believe. It's not to say that that's essentially what they need to perform better as such. But I think for some, I think that weight might be lifted off their shoulders. And I know it feels very, very toxic from that standpoint. But I think when some players do not necessarily turn against the manager in a really open way, but when they lose belief in their manager, then I think it's a sense that change needs to come. But to go back to your original question, I think the fans in some ways will be embarrassed. I think I'll be interested to see how they sort of show their support to him during the game, how they'll perceive his changes, how they'll sort of praise him at the end, whether he's won or he's lost. Because if it is the last moment for him, you know, he has actually brought them a trophy, which is something that many people thought that they wouldn't be able to do.
Frank, if you're sitting in that dressing room, what difference does this make to you as a player?
It depends what was your relationship with Ten Hag. I mean, if you're a young player and you were playing, you know, you could be a little bit sad about it, but otherwise, you know, all the players would be kind of relieved that he has to go because it didn't work. We have to be clear about that. And you are a new player, you feel that maybe he's a good coach, but it doesn't work. The chemistry doesn't work. And we're not talking about young players like you can find at Chelsea where you have to build something, to create something and create the experience. The list of players that you have at Manchester United are made, for most of them, from experienced players, who are already international players, and they know exactly what to do. It's just that they didn't connect. So the main reason has to be the coach. So I think most players are going to be relieved in a way that they're going to have to find somebody else who maybe going to find the right button where he can press on and suddenly it works for most of players to play all together. That's what everybody wants to find. And I think also for the fans, they're going to be relieved because they want to see something else. It's about time to see Manchester coming back to their best. But players-wise, really, it doesn't really matter in a way. But for most of them, I think they are relieved that Ten Hag has to go.
I don't quite see how. I mean, you could probably go through this whole United squad in one hand and pick out the players that we perceived would run through the proverbial wall for the manager. Most of them are looking after their own backsides. They are, and that's been part of the problem, as well as the injuries. So I don't quite see how this news is going to make much of a difference. Somebody else is going to come in and although he's been far from perfect, until they get rid of some of these players, they're going to have similar issues, albeit he should have been doing better with what he had. Going back to Kieran's point about not having the players at all times to work with and the injuries, and they have had a lot of injuries. But again, you could count on one hand probably the games where they've all stood up. Most of them, and we've talked about this. We've talked about this endlessly, that it's been the games against the weaker teams in the Premier League in particular that he's been outplayed, that they've looked more comfortable, they've created more chances, a lot of these teams, they've dominated even at Old Trafford. And that's before you get to the FA Cup semi-final, where you have a Man United team with 11 internationals. They're 3-0 up and they get battered from the 50, 55-minute mark onwards. Absolutely battered to a point where they're clinging on after 120 minutes and it goes to penalties. And I think when ownership and investors have looked at that and said, you know, we have got problems, but shouldn't we be better on the field than Bournemouth at home and Brentford, who absolutely cattled Man United? OK, they got a draw. And then Ten Hag comes out and says, well, Man City struggled here. They didn't. It's just too much nonsense. Man City did not struggle at Brentford. Phil Foden scored a hat-trick. It was a cakewalk. And so there's been too many anomalies from the playing, from the decision-making, to the style of play, to how they've been dominated by other teams, to his rhetoric. When you put all that together, Stevie, he had no chance.
And the biggest one is the one that was brought up about injuries. Regardless of, nobody can argue they've had injuries. But when on paper you look at the teams that they've put out, they've got talent. So the coach's job is to mould that talent together and figure out how it works. From the first game of the season to now, he hasn't been able to do that. He's had a whole season to figure that out, and he has not been able to do it. And that's his job. His job's not to be an ambassador for the club or to talk nicely or to get all the fans on his side. His job is to coach the team. That's why he's called a coach. And he hasn't done it. And that's why he's going to lose his job.
Nadem, who do the fans want to replace him?
Do you think I've been going around asking United fans what they think about things?
Well,
not really.
I feel like you're our man on the ground out there, Nadem.
Yeah, not on that bit of ground. But I think from the limited few that I've spoken to, I think the talk was that Pochettino, since he's available, I think the talk was that they wanted him quite a few years ago when he was just first leaving Spurs, I believe. So I guess that would be something from that standpoint that is exciting to them. Obviously, we've heard discussions about Southgate and so many people being turned off by that idea for different reasons according to their perspective. But I think the fact that Pochettino's available, I'd imagine quite a few of them would be very keen to bring him to the north rather.
Yeah, it's like a no-brainer, isn't it, Frank? You look at that list, Pochettino, of course, Premier League experience. McKenna, I understand, his link with Manchester United. Tuchel just coming off what happened at Bayern. Poch just seems like a layup.
Yeah, and I think it should be the right decision for Manchester United because he proved again with Spurs how he can handle. He proved with Chelsea. We can say it wasn't a great season, but he ended up finishing sixth and being qualified for the Europa League where nobody expected it. And with a more experienced team, I think he can achieve something. He knows how psychologically work with experienced players and. I'm pretty sure he's going to be up for the job and do better than anybody else. I have question marks about Tuchel. I mean, we saw how unstable he made the Bayern Munich dressing room with some experienced players, like Kimmich, for example, like Müller. I don't know how it's going to work with Casemiro as well, with maybe Fernandes, Maguire. So I think Pochettino can be closer to the players, more attentive to them. So I think it can be the right choice.
Kieran McKenna's an interesting one.
Yeah, so he's obviously got two back-to-back promotions with Ipswich. He's got links with Manchester United.
He's been linked with Chelsea as well. He's in a very dangerous situation here. I don't think he's ready for either of those.
Right, Brighton is another one he's been linked to.
Listen, that's still a tough act to follow, Potter and De Zerbi, and they'll sell players. Yeah, they've recruited well, but they'll sell. Look, he's back-to-back promotions. He was at United before, along with Solskjaer, so he was involved in the tactics before, because we know Solskjaer really wasn't. And getting players at Ipswich to listen to your methods, and his methods apparently are a little different, and he does things in training a little bit thinking outside the box, and that's fine, and Ipswich players have taken that on board, but going to a big club with some of these so-called superstars and asking them to do the same thing, that's difficult. So I think he's in a difficult position if he jumps at one of these jobs, because his stock is really high. If he goes at Premier League with Ipswich, they get relegated.
He'll go to Bayern.
So what? He'll go to Bayern. But I personally don't think
that would be a real gamble.
I don't think he's ready for
a real gamble.
Who would you have, Stevie, from that list?
I would have Pochettino.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think twice about it, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Manchester United are actually in a real mess. And so do you go for McKenna and you don't know what you're getting, Or do you go with... And to say a safe pair of hands is disrespecting Pochettino, to be honest. Or do you go with a guy who you know has ability, who knows his way around the team, he knows his way around players, he understands how big a job this is? Anybody else, particularly on that list, seems like a gamble.
Yeah. Kieran,
Does he want the job?
Sorry.
Why wouldn't he
I
want
would
it?
imagine.
Well,
I think he'd find it.
Well, maybe if you've had a long time out of football and you think, oh, I need to get back in. But how many shambles does he want to walk in and out of? I mean, PSG was a bit of a mess. You know, it was a circus. And it didn't go too well from there. He's gone in at Chelsea. He saw the big picture at Chelsea. He had plenty of time to think about it. But he's gone in there. It's probably worse than he thought. And now he's left there, whatever way you want to call it, sacked or mutual consent.
Craig.
When he goes to Man United, yes, they have this 1.25 billion Ineos investment, and they're going to fix the roof, and they're going to fix the training ground, and they're going to bring Dan Ashworth in, and all this. But is Pochettino ready to walk into another mess and really, really, really put his stock back on the line again? That's a difficult one.
Go on, Frank.
Yeah, but the thing is, when you are Pochettino and the standard of Pochettino, you're not going to find a club where everything works perfectly when the coach leaves to leave you the space. You're always going to go for a club who has problems. It's why they sacked the former coach, and you're going to step up, and you're going to face problems. That's the thing. That's your life. And everybody's facing that. You know, I'm sure Ancelotti, when he came to Real Madrid, or before when he came to PSG, it wasn't a clean way. He had to sort every problems out, and that's going to happen to Pochettino every time he goes somewhere else. And that's what it is for PSG, Chelsea, and maybe for Manchester United.
Maybe he's looking for the sort of Guardiola, Klopp, the Ancelotti scenario has gone away, but that sort of scenario where a manager's not been fired, but is walking away for whatever reasons. And you know, Arne Slot's going into Liverpool, right? It's a big job. Big job to fill those shoes, and he's going to have to do a lot of work because the size of the club.
Got a foundation.
There is at least a big foundation to work with, as there will be at City, as there would have been at Real Madrid. That's the difference here.
Other than Bayern Munich, where else is Poch going to go? Is he going to go to like an Aston Villa type club?
Right.
I mean, why would you go to an Aston Villa type? Because he can go there any time he wants. But Man United might not ever come up again. And I don't think his reputation has particularly changed, because the PSG, every man and his dog that's been in there has had the same problem. And I don't think there's anybody pointing the finger at Pochettino. It's all pointing at people up the stairs, Bowley and Winstanley and Stewart. So I think this is a no-brainer. I think this is a no-brainer for him as well as Man United.
I don't mean just that, but I mean the fact that he's had to fight so many fires at this Chelsea that he's gone in there, and I mean, Erik ten Hag's not a bad coach. He's not been able to get a grasp of it in his second year. He's not a bad coach, but even he, having his experience of Ajax in Champions League semi-finals, has toiled with this lot. And that's what I mean. Does he want to go back in and risk everything and toil away with basically 50% of them a bunch of wasters? Yeah. And then you've got people on long contracts who are coming towards the end of their career, like Casemiro. You've got Varane who's leaving. You've got a bunch of players who have been injury prone. You've got Marcus Rashford on huge wages, who basically hasn't done anything this year. And then that was a great line from Erik ten Hag in the press, wasn't it? Marcus is going to use a mission from the England squad to fuel himself,
to motivate
himself. And I thought, man, you should have told him he was out the England squad in January or October, because I don't see anything that's fueling this guy at the moment.
Kieran, last word on this. Who would you have from that list?
Is there a reason why we haven't mentioned De Zerbi? Or
no, most definitely De Zerbi's in the conversation, isn't he?
I think he's done an amazing job at Brighton. I always hear good reports about him. I know a few of the players there, and they have nothing but good words to say about him and his honesty and how he deals with the players. I feel like United is kind of like the next step for him. And I like Poch as well, but I would also consider De Zerbi.
After just a season in charge, Mauricio Pochettino has left Chelsea. Some of the reaction from the English press. No more. Podge out.
What?
I'm out. Out. Yes, Jurgen and Gab with us. Guys still here in the studio. Gab, season ticket holder at Chelsea. What's going on here?
Well, look, Pochettino kind of hinted at this, that his situation wasn't so solid, and it surprised a lot of people because there's, they finished the season with 5 consecutive wins, finishing in 6th place. It looked like some things were finally clicking. Certainly, what a lot of people are reporting, and what's also my understanding, is that there was a breakdown in the relationship, not so much with Todd Boehly, who of course is, many people see him as the face of the club, but he is a minority shareholder. Clear Lake, the other big fund that's involved with Bedad Egbali, they were very big. They weren't happy. They were very big on the analytics department, on the 2 directors of football, Paul Winstanley and Lauren Stewart, and that's why they embarked on this kind of journey with all the young players, with their idea, all the money that they spent on the Malagustos and Jacksons and Caicedos and so on, and that was their idea, and you had to follow it through. Pochettino reportedly at one point, some say as early as December, said, well, hang on a minute, all these young players are good, but if we're going to achieve our targets, some of these guys aren't suited, some of them are too raw, leaving aside all the injuries. Can we get some veterans in there as well to balance it out? And they just had different views about which way it was going to go. Supposedly, it's one of those amicable parting of the ways. Make of that what you will. But I think what's critical now for Chelsea is that if they are going to embark down this road, spend all the money on the youngsters, develop the youngsters, somehow balance the books as well at the same time, they have to get a manager who's very much on board in that. A manager who's going to grow with the team, not somebody who comes in with a reputation like Pochettino, who says, well, hang on a minute, I don't want to finish 6th or 7th 2-3 years in a row. I want to go and I want to compete straight away. And I think that was part of the failure to communicate on this occasion.
What do you make of it all, Stevie?
I think Pochettino's well out of it. Clearly these people upstairs, particularly Stuart and Winstanley, seem to think they know best. And so far, every single man and his dog has told them the same thing Poch told them, is that we can't go forward with so many young guys. They need some experience around them to make them better. These guys again are talking about bringing young players along. Young players are not brought along by other young players. You need older heads, you need experienced heads, and not necessarily guys that are going to play every single game, but they need to teach them how just the raw opponents parts of the game. And so they try to tell a guy who's been there and done it and actually grown a side like Tottenham, and they're telling him basically that he's not doing it the right way. In my opinion, Poch is well out of it. I don't think his reputation has changed any from being at Chelsea. And the fact that there's so many big jobs available just now just means that maybe he can go and get a proper job and not have people upstairs telling him what to do that actually don't understand that they don't know what they're talking about.
So right now the Chelsea job is not a proper job for any manager.
I mean, again, if you listen to what Gab's saying there, they basically want a puppet in. Now, is that the best thing for a bunch of young players? They don't need a puppet who's going to listen to and be told what to do from people up the stairs who clearly don't understand the nuances of the game. Yes, they can spot good players because they've got plenty of money, and most of us could go and spend a lot of money on good players, but you need somebody to put them together and somebody to bring them along. And if you think you can go and get a puppet and bring him in and tell him what to do and that's going to work, then you're just asking for more trouble.
Gab?
I don't want to. Stuart and Winstanley don't need me to defend them. What they would say is, no, we don't want a puppet, but we want somebody who's going to buy into this plan that we have. And this plan is built around.
No, are you a puppet? No,
we bring you the players. We bring you the players. You coach the players, and we're not going to judge you on whether you qualify for the Champions League in your first season. We're not judging you on results. We're judging you on our own metrics, on whether this team is improving, on whether the players are improving. And they were very clear about that. Look, that's their line. They would also point out that, look, Thiago Silva was there, Raheem Sterling was there. You know, you have players who've been there, done that, and bought the T-shirt. So it's not all kids. But equally, Pochettino says, well, wait a minute. Some of these guys that you bought that are supposed to be phenomenal, yeah, Moises Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez, to name but two, who reportedly were kind of sticking points here. These guys both cost more than $100 million. They're nice players. They're not players who are worth that. And they're going to struggle in the system. And I think that is the difficulty. And if you look at where Stewart and Winstanley came from, yeah, no, they're not coaches, but one came from Brighton, one was at Monaco, and before that at the Red Bull organization. These are clubs that won, that did really, really well, and where the manager was, I don't want to say interchangeable, but managers came and went, and what stuck behind was the organization's philosophy. And that is what supposedly Bowley and Iqbali were trying to, or are trying to, instill at Chelsea. That is supposedly what Pochettino bought into when he arrived, and that is what, in their view, he didn't deliver, and that's why he's no longer the manager.
They were actually stringing results together. You were actually seeing some of these young players, not in huge steps, but they were making strides. It felt like this team was inching forward, and it felt like this team finished much higher than we would have anticipated midway through the season. And so the timing for me is what's confusing here, is that you're actually you're now trending in the right direction, and now we go into a holding pattern again and trying to figure out what's next. That's the part that doesn't quite match up. If indeed you're building for the future, and your future now seems brighter than what it was before, then why now make this change, and why sort of go a separate direction? And it feels like you're tinkering again, and when you tinker again and you devalue the position of the manager, I'm not quite with Stevie that it's just a puppet, but you are devaluing the importance of the position of a manager. I think that's a very slippery slope. It's a dangerous territory, and you're setting a dangerous precedent. There is a reason as to why teams that are successful usually have very good managers. Managers are important, not only in a football team, but in any corporation. You need managers that know what they're doing and that apply their experience to bringing employees, or in this case, players along. I don't quite understand the timing of it all, because it felt like Chelsea was better now than what they were midway through the season.
Gab, hold that thought. I just want to get Jurgen's take on all of this, what's going on at Chelsea.
Well, it's extremely difficult, obviously, from the outside to judge it. But I totally share Alejandro's opinion there, because it looked from the outside, following the games now the last 2 months, that they're getting more and more balanced, that the results, not only the results were coming, but also the way they played, things were kind of matching up, and it looked a lot more fluid, and it looked more of a team that Mauricio Pochettino can further develop. And he developed, I mean, especially at Spurs, he had tremendous good years in developing players, younger players, and he can do that. I think so too. He can do that with Chelsea as well. But what we don't know is all the politics behind the scenes. We don't know it. We don't know their meetings that they have, the coffees that they drink in the afternoon, and the conversations that are going on there. And maybe it drained Mauricio, maybe it drained him, and I said, you know what, they don't really get what I want to kind of achieve or do. And if you then kind of feel like over the months that you're not kind of sharing the same approach, sharing the wrong ideas, then it might be better to part ways. But I thought, and I totally agree with Alejandro, I thought they're on the right track right now.
Gab?
Look, I don't think Pochettino was the right manager in the first place, not because he's a good manager, but because they had a clear way that they wanted to do things. And to do that, you don't get a manager like Pochettino. You don't necessarily get a manager who's established to do that. You get somebody else who's more compliant, who's completely aligned with what they want to do. If I get you the best ingredients in the world and I say, go and make me an omelet, and you decide to make me a steak or shepherd's pie, Stevie, then I'm sorry. I'm going to fire you as a chef, even if you're good at making shepherd's pie.
All right, let's take a look at the next manager odds, though. As long as there's no
so
sweet
Pochettino put corn in the shepherd's pie, is what you're telling
It's going to
me.
be the only thing. It's Ipswich's Kieran McKenna that is top on the odds right now, followed by Roberto De Zerbi, Ruben Amorim, Thomas Frank, Thomas Tuchel again, and Michel. Tell us a bit more about Kieran McKenna being the front runner here, then, Gab.
So, well, Kieran McKenna obviously got Ipswich promoted. He was formerly an assistant at Manchester United, 2 straight promotions at Ipswich. I have to say, it's a typical one where somebody's clearly doing the rounds, because he's been linked to Manchester United as well. He was linked to Brighton and now Chelsea all in the past week. Another name to throw in there as well is Enzo Maresca, also promoted, of course, with Leicester City. He was formerly Pep Guardiola's assistant at Man City. The idea is they see these as people who will work within their parameters, where they don't tell the coach how to play. They say, these are the players, these are the basic principles, go out, win games, make the team better, develop these players, and do it with this set of players that we give you because the players are good. And it's not for everyone. Certainly, somebody like Kieran McKenna or Enzo Maresca is going to have a lot less leverage with the ownership than a more senior manager like Poch is going to have.
If you were a betting man, Gab, who would you go for as the next Chelsea manager?
Well, I think it's certainly somebody fitting that profile. So McKenna would be in the mix. Maresca would be in the mix. Amorim is an excellent manager. I don't think he fits that profile. You really have to get somebody who is aligned, because for now at least, those 2 guys, Stewart and Winstanley, with their boss Igbali, who assigns the paychecks behind them, they're the ones who are saying, this is the plan. We're not going to deviate from this plan. That's why we got rid of Pochettino. So you assume that those guys might be a little bit more pliable, than somebody like Poch, who can leave here and, probably walk into another, if not top job, then, maybe the next tier down very, very quickly.
What about you, Stevie? Who do you see here? Maybe your new puppet on a string at Chelsea.
I honestly have no idea. And the reason why I have no inkling whatsoever is that, Gab's talking about they've got a plan, right? But if they've got this so-called plan, clearly the plan with buying all the younger players hasn't worked, because they're miles off it. And again, I think I agree with Gab. If the plan was to bring in somebody who would align with what they want to do, why did they bring in Pochettino? So they've gotten everything wrong so far. So what's to suggest they're going to make the right decision? I have no idea. They've tried everything. They Tuchel, they got rid of him. They brought the young guy in Potter, they got rid of him. They brought an experienced guy in Pochettino, they've got rid of him. I mean, they could go anywhere. Honestly, there's actually no formula for trying to figure out who these guys are going to sign. There's no formula, not a clue.
OK, now there are reports today that Erik ten Hag could be on his way out at Manchester United. Oh, yeah.
You don't say.
Reports from a respected Italian journalist, might I add as well. And guess what? Mauricio Pochettino at the top. So I'm going to stay with you, Stevie. Do you think this could be a good move mutually?
I would have no problem with Pochettino getting the Manchester United job. Absolutely not. Listen, he's taken a team. He took Spurs very close to the Premier League title. He got beaten in a Champions League final, so he knows what he's doing. He brought young players along. Right now the positives at United are about the young players they have. So you've got a guy who's got a past in bringing young players along, and with the finances that United should have, then you go and top that up with some quality. So I would have no problem with Pochettino being Manchester United manager.
What do you think about that, Jurgen?
Well, obviously, this will be a very busy summer in terms of the carousel of managers. I mean, there's a lot going on. Big clubs, they're looking around and trying to find a solution. Obviously, you have the Euros and you have the Copa America, and there will be usually 40 to 50% of those jobs, will be changed after the big tournaments as well. So this is a very interesting time to speculate, to come up with ideas. But as you rightfully said, and Stevie said it before, that you got to think about the leverage, of your manager you're going to bring in. Is the leverage now really strong enough with the owners, that at the end of the day deliver you then the players, the team, and the infrastructure? And what is your leverage with the players at the end of the day? Are the players behind you? Do they share your philosophy, your style of play? And if you look at today's game, you need players like, at Atalanta that totally buy into this style of football, meaning highly aggressive, high pressure, 90-minute, very physical, and always going to the extreme in your performances physically and mentally. So you need the players basically backing you, and this type of leverage is very difficult often to have for managers. Maybe you have the leverage with your players, you go well, but you don't have the leverage with your management, meaning your owners, or vice versa. And so every time these big clubs now kind of look around and look for the next manager, they need to figure out what exact profile do they really need. What fits in our environment, in our history, in our neighborhood, because Chelsea is different to Arsenal, is different to Tottenham, is different to Man United, and so on. And if you go throughout Europe, there's so many kind of cultural differences that managers that come in, they need to fit. They need to get a chance, maybe try it out for 1, 2, 3 years, but who gives you the time nowadays to go for 2 or 3 years? I always thought David Moyes was the perfect fit, absolute perfect, and I still think it today, the perfect fit for Man United. But they didn't even give him a year, so Alex Ferguson were given 4 or 5 years to win his first trophies. So today it's a very tricky environment for managers, for the clubs as well, but with the fact that ownerships change everywhere so quickly, and suddenly you have, instead of an English owner, you have an American owner, you have owners from the Middle East, you have owners from all over the places, there's a lot of issues that come on the table, and if you don't fit all those boxes, then very difficult to keep your job.
Poch, the answer at United, LA?
Well, I do know something for certain. David Moyes is not the answer. He's not the answer now. Pochettino, look, I think, in my estimation, if I'm Manchester United, it seems like a very safe choice. And you could do worse than Pochettino, I'll say that much. So, and for him, I think it seems like a natural transition as well. And I mean, it feels all too convenient, but yeah, I think it would make sense from both parties.
Live, I said, and lots to talk about today, including the fact that Bayern Munich look to have identified the man who will be taking over next season, and that man is Vincent Kompany. Reports say that he will be replacing Thomas Tuchel. We obviously know about his incredible accomplishments as a player, as a manager, his best achievements coming with Burnley, who he had promoted to the Premier League, and then the following season, relegation back down to England's second tier with a 19th place finish. Let's welcome in Nader Manua and Archie in to talk more about this now. And I want to start with you, Archie, because this is where we are finding ourselves now, with Bayern Munich looking at Vincent Kompany taking over the role there. So what direction is it that they're looking at here? What's the thought in bringing Kompany in?
Firstly, he's a coach that wants to come to them. And as you might be aware, they have been turned down a lot in recent weeks and months even. So that Vincent Kompany is interested in the job is the first thing. I think that he's worked under Pep Guardiola and that the Bayern hierarchy have a good relationship with Pep Guardiola, I think is something that will have taken place here, and there will have been conversations there as well. But also that he wants to try and play an attractive style of football will have played a role. And even though he has been relegated with Burnley this season, I think that Bayern are in such a position themselves where they're in a state of distress. The situation is acute. They are not used to being turned down as many times as they have been. So they are having to take a risk here, and Vincent Kompany is benefiting from the status that he earned himself as a player. And having worked under Pep Guardiola, I think those are very important factors here for why he's being considered for the job.
So what's the reaction been to this in Germany, Archie?
Finally. Finally is the reaction, because okay, if I'm it feels like a pub quiz question already. Can you name all the Bayern? Can you name all the coaches that have turned down Bayern? Because Nagelsmann, Tuchel, Rangnick, Glasner, De Zerbi, Xabi Alonso as well. And maybe this is also the way to look at it, is that Bayern are maybe trying to make their own version of Xabi Alonso in terms of benefiting from somebody who was a world-class player and seeing if they are able to reproduce that. But there are so many things that Vincent Kompany has to juggle. That he will, I think, from Bayern's perspective, not have the biggest say in transfers and not got that weight that he's coming with as a reputation will help them in terms of the dynamic that they work with him in. But dealing with that dressing room, dealing with the massive upheaval that's going on at Bayern Munich, let alone having to deal with the pressures that come with managing that club. And if you drop a point, then people are going to be on your back.
Oh, well, Nadim, you know Kompany better than any of us do. I think you actually call him Vinny. Is he up for this job?
Yeah, he's absolutely up for this job. I think the timing of it, as Archie said, is probably perfect for him, and it's a great opportunity. You know, when I first met Vinny, it was actually in Germany when he was playing for Hamburg, and his understanding of the Bundesliga and stuff was very much there. I think the value of him, you know, being a former Man City player, someone who's played in that league, someone who understands German football, I think that is key. But also to sort of reference a point, which I'm sure we'll get to, a lot of people are looking at the way that Burnley played this season, the fact that they went down, and saying, well, maybe this is a job that's too big for him. But you go back a year, and he had 101 points in the Championship, and they were saying, oh, this is a guy that can go here, can go anywhere. Maybe he could be linked to City, maybe he could be going to Spurs and stuff like this. And I did consider that interesting, because all of a sudden in a year, is he a bad manager now? Well, for me, I don't believe so. I think some of the noise that was around his name last year was because of, say, certain coaching styles that he had. Maybe the style of football, maybe the way he carried himself, maybe the way that, you know, he had a vision for a young side to improve and how he could do that with players. So I think he's still the same manager. Obviously, the Premier League ended up being too difficult for himself and the team. But I believe he can go there and can do well. I think the profile of manager that maybe Bayern need in this moment is probably more suited to a Vincent Kompany and someone that's maybe a bit, I don't know, perhaps more experienced, someone that's a bit more hardened. And I think he's someone who will arrive there without the ego, but will arrive with belief, and he will command a level of respect. And as Archie said, it's Bayern Munich. You can't really be dropping points on a week-to-week basis. But I think Vincent understands that. And I think it's going to be a great test for him, because now he's going to be surrounded by some of the best players in the world.
Well, that's a big point, isn't it? Big stars here. We've seen some footage of him in the dressing room at Burnley, really showing and stamping his authority, showing those leadership skills and giving his players a dressing down. Will he be able to do that, be so direct and authoritative with Bayern's big stars?
Well, that's part of managing, right? You need to figure out who are the players that you can get after and the players that you leave alone. And that's part of reading a locker room. That's part of reading players, of developing a relationship with players. So wherever he would have gone in the world, he would have had to have done that. Now, that all gets magnified when you talk about Bayern Munich, because whenever you mention Bayern Munich and the coaching position, it's not only about whether you can actually put a starting lineup together or run a training session, it's how you handle the machine of Bayern Munich. And the machine of Bayern Munich actually has to do more with what's going on above you and the pressures and the politics of the club. And maybe he's coming in not knowing a whole lot about that, and that's probably better for him, in that there are no scars there and that there are no bad thoughts or preconceived notions. He comes in thinking about, I'm going to coach the team, and perhaps that all works out. And maybe this is a wonderful solution for Bayern Munich. But let's not kid ourselves. They have stumbled, if indeed this ends up being great for Bayern Munich, they have stumbled upon this solution. They have taken the scenic route to get to this point. He wasn't first choice, second choice, third, fourth, fifth, or sixth. They've gone through a list of managers who they thought would be suited for Bayern Munich, far before they even consider Vincent Kompany. So this may end up working out. Give him a chance. I'm all for Vincent Kompany, and I'm all for his style of play. I want that to be the case for Bayern Munich, and I want him to do well at Bayern Munich. But man, there are a lot of questions that need to be answered, and he's going to have to answer a lot of those questions himself. Never mind the club. He's going to have to be the one that is facing the media, that he's going to face in the press if things are not going well. He's going to be at the forefront of every decision made at this club, certainly when it comes to player personnel out on the field.
And dealing with the board, as you mentioned, which becomes part and parcel with being Bayern coach. How do you think he'd fare in that aspect, Nadem?
To be honest, I think he'll be fine. I think he's young enough to have an understanding about, say, the way that things are done at different places. I think he's very open-minded. He's very much a student. It sounds like a cliche, but he's a student of the game and a student of surroundings as well. I think he's very good at being attentive to, say, whether it's players, whether it's some of the staff that are around him, maybe some of the people that are above him. And I don't think Vinny's a very, very intelligent person. Even though what Ali's saying is probably true in terms of him not being first, second, third, fourth choice or whatever, I think he knows what's going to be involved with the job of being at Bayern Munich. Having been someone, as I say, who's played in that league, somebody who has peers in that league, somebody who would be watching that league, you know, from a distance as well. I don't think he'll be surprised by anything as such. Maybe the workload will be great, but I think he's prepared to do it. And I think that is something that kind of sets him apart, because when I speak to people who, you know, have been coached by him or people work alongside him, they say he is very, very impressive. So for me, I hope that he does well. There's no guarantee of success, obviously, but I'm sure he'll be doing everything he can to sort of manage all those little relationships that go with being the head coach at Bayern Munich.
When it comes obviously to Bayern, you're going to have your young stars, but then some of the stars are veterans, as we know. Shaka, you've got your Harry Kanes and your Manuel Neuers, and this is a young manager in Vincent Kompany. How does that play out?
I'll be honest, I'm concerned. First of all, let me say, I hope Vincent Kompany does well. I wish him the absolute best. But managing Burnley and Anderlecht has no similarities to managing Bayern Munich outside of I've got to pick 11 players to start the game. Everything about, you talk about the authority that he showed in addressing his dressing room at Burnley, that works at Burnley when you're Vincent Kompany and you have the playing career that you do. It doesn't at Bayern Munich. When half the dressing room can match, certainly in terms of numbers of trophies, exactly what you've done. And then kind of given that a lot of those players would have played against Vincent Kompany as a player, there's just, to say this is a risk is as understated as I can possibly get. And to Nadem's point, while last year in leading Burnley to 101 points in the championship, and Vincent Kompany being linked with Manchester City one day, maybe even a Tottenham Hotspur, a year on, nobody's having those conversations. And then all of a sudden, Bayern Munich just kind of comes to the fore, falls into Vincent Kompany, as Ali put it. But in terms of Vincent's lack of experience, especially at that level, in terms of recruiting, managing the squad that he's got, what changes do you make when you go a goal down or two, when the manager sitting in the other dugout is a Carlo Ancelotti? All those things are lessons he's going to have to learn on the job. And for me, I just think it's, you don't go to Bayern Munich to work on your learning curve. You go there when you're just about the finished article.
And to add to that, Shaq, there's the context of the success of Xabi Alonso. So now there's a perhaps unrealistic expectation as to what a young manager should do, could do, when will do in the case of Vincent Kompany. There's going to be that comparison of, wait a second. Xabi Alonso, unbeaten in 51 matches, won Bundesliga, and that's with Bayer Leverkusen. You now have Bayern Munich in your hands. Why can you not do that? Why can you not achieve that? That's the context of the conversation, and that's the standard that now, unfairly so, I believe, he's going to be compared to and evaluated against. Wait, but the young manager is capable of doing it. You don't need all that experience because you can come right in and you can make a difference. And again, that would be unfairly so and unrealistic to expect that. And yet again, the expectations for Bayern Munich are that they're going to win everything all the time. Look, it may work out. But this is a big leap. It's a major leap. And I don't think that we can deny. It's a major leap for Vincent Kompany.
He is obviously, Archie, stepping into a role, as Ali just said, where you are expected to win everything all the time, every single competition that you're in. Would that still be the same objectives with Vincent Kompany?
Absolutely. It's compulsory at Bayern, no matter who has the job. And I've been going back through their last coaches, and I can't think of anybody who has been as, I'd say, so far down the pecking order as unfancied as him. But that will give him, should, in a positive light, maybe take the pressure off him a little bit, because the expectations will maybe be that little bit lower from what people might expect of him. That he speaks German fluently is a big tick in the column, but there are a few things that still need to be ratified about this deal, which I think we should still remember, which is compensation still got to be agreed with Burnley, who have seen what Bayern were prepared to offer for Oliver Glasner, which was some 20 million euros. And now Burnley want something along those lines as well, which is a lot of money for a coach when you consider that Bayern paid just over that for Julian Nagelsmann as well. And then also, despite what I think the way that the Bayern hierarchy might be leaning because of the Pep Guardiola associations here, they have also been pretty stern in turning down coaches so far if they don't like them, if members of the board don't like them. I look at Thomas Tuchel, even after what he achieved, and they weren't prepared to offer him a further than a one-year deal, and they weren't prepared to admit their mistakes with Julian Nagelsmann as well. So it still needs to get ratified there, but it's looking the most likely option right now, particularly when you consider all of the dynamics which are involved. But yeah, to come back to your original question, Kay, you simply have to win every week. And when you've won 11 titles in a row up to this season, in a way, how much you can actually win as coach of Bayern Munich has been reduced. I think that's why the job has become slightly less sexy for many people, and it's become almost fashionable for people to turn down as well. But Vincent Kompany, with the way that things have gone with Burnley, he would have gone back into the Championship. To go from that to the Champions League now is, of course, a huge step.
Just out of interest, Naden, have you ever been shouted at by Vincent Kompany?
Have I been shouted at? No, do you know what? I don't think I have. I understood where he was coming from, but then also I did like hook him up with his wife. So realistically, could he ever be mad at me?
What a flex!
Man. Okay, we have lost. We have lost all objectivity in this conversation.
Matchmaker. There's a manure, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we better move on, shall we? That's right. Former Bayern manager.
You win, Nate. You win.
Former Bayern manager Hansi Flick has been linked with the Barcelona job should Xavi be given his marching orders at the end of this season. In fact, he has emerged as one of the leading candidates to take over. Flick, the favourite, and meeting with Flick, according to reports over in Spain. Archie, just out of interest, what is Flick's stock right now in Germany? How is he viewed?
Damaged. From where it was after winning the Champions League with Bayern, where he was, I think, he became one of the most reputed coaches in world football. What then happened with the German national team has severely damaged his stock. Most of all, the documentary that came out showing what happened at the 2022 World Cup, and this infamous video of letting the geese fly and let's be like the geese. That has not helped the way that he's seen in Germany, but it was always said about Hansi Flick of how well he works with big personalities, and how still, even after his sacking as Germany national team coach, nobody was coming out against him in the press, and he's maintained good relationships. The question is, would his style of high-risk football work at Barcelona from the off? Because when Bayern were good under him, they were still taking huge risks. It relied on Alphonso Davies being the best version of himself and sweeping up behind. And it's great when it works, but there are a lot of dangers as well that come with it. Working abroad as well, how he would deal with the media, that's something that I don't think he likes to do, as we've seen both in real life and in, a documentary is documenting that as well. But the point is that he's somebody who I think has an edge to him when it comes to the way that he behaves with the media. And so how he would deal with the pressures of that at a club like Barcelona is something that I would watch out for.
What do you think of Flick as Barcelona coach, Ali?
Well, if we're going to go down the line of the same conversation that Archie was just mentioning there, high-risk manager in terms of the way that they play, entertaining, going to score goals, but does it resolve the issues that Barcelona have defensively? No. And if you watch Barcelona play this season, they didn't have issues scoring goals as much as they had issues preventing other teams from scoring goals. And this is just a tactical, technical conversation. But I...
Don't see it this time around. What do you think? I don't think so.
There's a bit of contact.
I don't think
Martinez's arm just comes across the back of Erling Haaland.
Yeah.
Just getting another little glimpse at it now.
I don't think there's enough.
Not a huge amount, because it's his legs that go straight.
Yeah.
So that'll think that there wasn't enough contact that's engineered. I think that's what will convince them not to, Ali.
No, it's not a penalty. VAR have confirmed it, but interesting, the ball into the box. Haaland was going to get to it, just nudged out of it, but no penalty. City were adamant that it was. So we're in the second minute, and it's still 0-0. But we've already had a little bit of controversy, although I think Andy Madley got it right on the field, and VAR confirmed it off the field. Michael Oliver, by the way, is the man in charge back at Stockley Park. He has refereed 2 FA Cup finals, only one of 2 referees to have ever done so in the history of the competition. Today, he's on VAR duty. So United in possession near the halfway line, they lose it. City pick it up with Kovacic, and he loses it, but he was fouled by Amrabat, and it is a free kick just inside the centre circle, and Rodri has it and guides it across to Walker. Bernardo Silva on the halfway line, moves forward, looks across to his left and taps it to Stones. Stones in the centre circle, pushes it out to the left to Guardiola. Guardiola, by the way, missed the German Cup final a year ago for RB Leipzig because of injury. So a little bit of good news for him that he's been given a start today. Stones in the centre circle, pushes it out wide to Bernardo Silva. Midway inside the United half, helps it on to Walker. Walker back to Rodri. Rodri still on this incredible unbeaten run of 74 matches since he last lost a football game for the Blues. That was against Spurs in February of 2023. Ball is now in the possession of John Stones. Stones looks across and plays it out wide to Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva midway inside the United half, and the pattern of the game is already set, with City very much in control and United trying to repel, sitting deep and saying to City, come on to us and we'll counter you, because that is their game plan. Stones on the halfway line, gets into United territory, eases it to the right to Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva down the right-hand side, plays it back to Walker, and Walker plays it all the way back to Ake in the centre circle, on to Kovacic. Kovacic preferred today in some ways to Doku. City could have gone with Doku down the wing as they did last week against West Ham. Instead they've gone for an extra central midfielder in Kovacic, with Foden coming from the left-hand side, Bernardo from the right, and Walker and Guardiola offering their width as well. Lots of attacking options down the middle, because Foden will come off that left-hand side, and of course Kovacic will dart forward, and Kevin De Bruyne will be behind Haaland. Ball goes out for a City throw about 10 metres inside the United half, and well, Michael, the game plan is already obvious for United.
Yeah, they're going to sit in, they're going to delay, just wait. Stay Amrabat, Mainoo will just be the sitters. But then it turns into almost a box at times when Bruno Fernandes drops back in next to McTominay when he can't get as far forward. Rashford on the left, Garnacho on the right, so we've seen what they can do. That's the thing you asked me at the start, that counter where Rashford almost got in. That is the danger of that electrifying pace that he has. City now getting a feel for it. They're used to these situations, these emotions, big games. The atmosphere is really, really good. It's a good show at the start of the game. For everybody coming out, special moment in the cup final as you walk out, greeted with some great applause and fireworks and royalty. But now the game's on, City in their stride, moving Manchester United around. They don't like to run, Ali. That's one thing you've got to make them do.
And City are giving them the run around at the moment as the ball goes down the right-hand side, and Walker darts across the middle of the field, loses the ball, but manages to slide a challenge into Kovacic. Kovacic picks it up on the halfway line and then gets into United territory, helps it on to Rodri in the centre circle, and on to Foden, and back to Rodri, and on to Kovacic. Kovacic to Stones, Stones out wide to De Bruyne, still just about in the middle third, City, but only just on the other side of the halfway line. Back into City territory it goes with Ake. City very much bossing the opening 6 minutes here at Wembley. City 0, United 0, 2024 FA Cup final. Ball very much dominated by the Blues. Just one little scare, a ball over the top. Rashford came charging at it, but Walker outpaced him and guided it back to Ortega, who, remember, has never lost an FA Cup title. City trying to get down the right-hand side, but the ball's too heavy, and United get it away through Dallo, who is ostensibly a right footer, but is playing at left back. But United can build, but they've given it away. City win it back in the central area, but United win it back, and now they've got it with Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka getting towards the halfway line. First time we've seen United express themselves. Garnacho just inside the City half, goes back to Amrabat. Amrabat preferred to Casemiro today, one of two surprises really.
Interesting that, isn't it? That he didn't even get the nod at centre-back was one thing. A few people probably thought he could have stayed in at the centre-back position and not play Varane, but he's made changes. He hasn't actually stuck to the norm with his trend. But probably City would have thought he would have played some role, Casemiro.
Yep. The other surprise that the top scorer Haaland has been left out, and one of either McTominay or Fernandes will play high up the pitch in the central striker role as a false nine. At the moment, United have had their longest spell of possession in the match, but they're only inside their own half. Ball goes back to Varane, who's playing his last game for Manchester United because he has no further contract. It will expire in a few weeks' time. Ball is in the possession of Onana, who of course is playing in his first ever FA Cup final. Last season it was David De Gea playing his last Manchester United game. He hits it long to Rashford. Rashford in a battle with Walker. Walker has the strength and of course the speed. Gets there in front of him and guides it back to Stones. And then there's a bit of pressure on Stones, and it goes out for a City throw about 30 metres from the far right-hand corner flag. Interesting battle, that one, Rashford and Walker.
Yeah, really good. Kyle Walker's got the better so far, but you can't underestimate what Rashford can produce. You've seen for many seasons now. Yes, he's had a hard time. Want to prove something, won't he? Not making that England squad. Out of Southgate just saying he felt like players have had a better season than Marcus Rashford, and he would have been not just in that squad, you would have expected him to start only a year ago, Alec.
Absolutely. United coming forward, they've got it with Bruno Fernandes. Out wide it goes to Garnacho, attacking possibilities, shot straight at Ortega. It was the first attempt on target of the match. It came from Garnacho and it was easily gathered by Ortega.
Yeah, the ball comes across the pitch. Garnacho tries to get that shot. Scoreboard has got to get tighter, he's got to get closer. To feel if it was going to be harder to lower to that far corner, Stefan Ortega would have had something to think about, but He really does well, doesn't he, to get hold of that ball, to make it stick right in his mid-drift, have a little second go of it, but look comfortable.
So the first time that either of these sides had tested the other goalkeeper. Garnacho testing Ortega. Now Guardiola on halfway finds De Bruyne. A lovely ball inside to Foden. Foden's onside. He's looking for a target. Clips it over towards Haaland, but it was too short, and it was headed away by Martinez. Picked up by Bernardo Silva in the right wing position. Bernardo Silva cuts inside. He's on the edge of the area, puts in a cross, and United will not get to it. Foden does, but it's into the side netting for a goal kick. Pep Guardiola applauds the intent.
Yeah, great flick round the corner into Phil Foden as he darts down that left-hand side. He'll be a little bit disappointed that Erling Haaland, his run's not better, either more direct to the back post or more prominent. Could he get across Martinez? He stays, he waits. Phil Foden just tries to drift it into that far area, but Martinez, good sort of positional play, just clears away. Well, Manchester United trying to play out. I don't think they look comfortable doing this. Varane and Onana, I think you can go full press now.
Yeah, they're trying to escape the City press, and they haven't done it particularly well. Foden got a foot on it, and it goes out for a United throw about midway inside the United half. Aaron Wan-Bissaka has got the ball in his right hand, and the sun has gone behind clouds, and it's a shadowy Wembley Stadium pitch at the moment. Wan-Bissaka still waiting to throw it. Nobody really coming towards him. Eventually he does. Gets it back from Fernandes and thumps it into City territory. Rashford gives chase, and Stones heads it all the way back to Ortega. And that was a pretty hopeless ball, really, from Wan-Bissaka, but he didn't seem to have any options on. So Walker advances into United territory. Plays it backwards to Rodri. Rodri helps it on to Kovacic. Kovacic on halfway. Out wide it goes to Guardiola. Wan-Bissaka is a much better player when he's out of possession than in it, if that doesn't insult him too much. He does take up really good defensive positions. It doesn't look as comfortable when he's on the ball under pressure. The ball's in the possession of Onana, who helps it on to the tiny figure of Lisandro Martinez, who is United's first choice centre-half, although he's been dogged with injury throughout the campaign. Stones on halfway, heads it away. Mainoo has been outstanding this season for Manchester United and has thoroughly deserved his place in Gareth Southgate's starting squad. I say starting squad because we don't know how many is going to be reduced by 6, I think, and at the moment we're not sure which 6 are going to miss out. The ball is with Rodri. Rodri on halfway, just in the centre circle, plays it to Kovacic. Kovacic to Rodri. Rodri helps it out wide to Bernardo Silva, and Bernardo Silva can take on Dalla, his international colleague, of course, who'll play with him at the Euros next month. Rodri, also another Euro player for Spain in a few weeks' time. Stones on to Rodri. Rodri on the halfway line, taps it to Foden. Foden helps it out to the left-hand side to Guardiola. Guardiola takes it neatly down and hits a nice ball to Kovacic, and Kovacic darts forward, and wide it goes to De Bruyne. De Bruyne was on the edge of the penalty area, clips it in, headed up into the air and out for the corner. No, it's kept on the far side. Up into the air it goes. Rodri will hope to get to the bouncing ball. He heads it back to Stones. He was caught by Rashford. Referee says you might as well play on because you've got the ball. Here is Rodri on halfway. Outside it goes to De Bruyne. De Bruyne on the left-hand side. Takes it down and guides it to Kovacic. Aaron Wan-Bissaka went with it. Kovacic over the top to De Bruyne. De Bruyne won't get there because Varane does and helps it out for a throw. City in control here, Michael.
Yeah, it was a great run, wasn't it? Kevin De Bruyne, just an opposite direction, drop short, spins in behind. Kovacic sees it, ran over into cover. Was trying to find a bit of room. Kovacic stepping forward now into those positions, and Manchester United won't want that runner.
No, Haaland's just got into a battle with Martinez, and the referee says it was a foul. He's got to be a foot taller and probably a foot wider than Lisandro Martinez, that's a fact. If City can pop a high ball into the box, as they tried about 7 or 8 minutes ago, Haaland's going to win it every single time. Ball is with Onana. Onana looking up, taps it into Mainoo. Mainoo helps it back to Varane. Varane looking up, plays it back to Onana. Onana has Bernardo Silva coming at him, plays it out wide, he's given it away, and actually it went straight to Foden, but he couldn't control it, and it bounced off his instep and out for a United throw. Well, they try to play out from the back, United, but they don't seem very comfortable.
Well, they don't, because City will get to grips with that as well. You can imagine all the City camp just thinking, right, you go and drop onto him, you go into that position, wait for that set pass, and they'll see it, what their trend is, and they'll catch them, that's for certain.
Yep, we've got the ball now. United lost possession, and now there's a foul, a City free kick about midway inside the United half. A foul on Phil Foden as he tried to get away, I think, from Martinez. And it's a free kick to the Blues in a crossing position, of course, nowhere near shooting range. Foden picks himself up.
He just slices his foot underneath him and just catches him slightly. Let's have another look. Just on the bottom of his right foot. Phil Foden shaking his head. It is a late challenge. Look how high now Manchester United are on this sort of semi-wide free kick. De Bruyne on top of it. Does he go wide into Bernardo, create that overload, 2v1? Can they find just a little clip? Great little battle. John Stones, Varane, a little bit of an arm off. Aggro.
Tell you what, that's one of the highest lines I think I've ever seen for a free kick that's so far into their own half of the field. But anyway, it can only be about 10 or 12 metres away from the ball, this United high line. They've obviously worked on something. The ball comes into the area, it's headed away and out. And will it go out for the corner? No, it will just get out for the throw. It's Varane who glanced it away. So a City throw about 5 metres from the left-hand corner flag in the left-hand corner, just in front of all the United supporters behind the left-hand goal. Guardiola has the ball in his right hand. He is waiting for someone to come towards him as the sun comes out at Wembley Stadium. Temperatures around about 21, 22 degrees Celsius, so I guess you'd call it cup final weather. Ball is in Guardiola's hands. He throws it to Kovacic, and then a deflection off Wan-Bissaka, and it goes out. Was it sunny on the day of your cup final, Michael? Do you remember?
Yeah, very sunny. It's tradition, is it not, Ali? Sun's out, fireworks, all the fans to walk Wembley way.
Wembley way, of course, now Mancunian way today. The ball is on the right-hand side with Bernardo Silva. Tried to help it on. Dallo is in the way. Thumps it anywhere, really, and Walker will pick it up. And if you didn't know that this was a neutral venue, you would think City were the home side, the way United have set themselves up today, allowing City to dictate everything. The ball is out wide with Guardiola. Guardiola in the sunshine, helps it back to Kovacic. Kovacic into Rodri. The right-hand side of the pitch is in shadow. This near side is all bathed in sun. Ball is wide right with Bernardo Silva. Takes on Dallo, comes inside. De Bruyne's on his outside. Still Bernardo Silva. On to Foden. Hit it too hard, and it goes out of play for a goal kick. So a mistake by Foden, enjoyed by the United supporters.
It was like a delayed reaction, wasn't it, when the Man United supporters started cheering to say, why have you just pushed the ball out of play? Phil Foden being so good recently, the way he gets on the ball, the way he demands more from his teammates, scoring goals, confidence. You just have to sweep that wide. Did Manchester United taking so long with all of these set pieces? Now a goal kick. Varane just going to the corner of the 6-yard area. Nana going the opposite side and just moving it around. City could go full press. I think they've got to go even more. Just leave that extra midfielder can go right on and leave that sort of the false 9.
Yeah, and United have just given the ball away again, because when they play out from the back, they just don't seem to have options. So eventually they try a sort of Hail Mary pass, and it just isn't coming off. So City are getting the ball back with regularity. We're in the 18th minute, and I would imagine City have had more than 70% possession. They have it at the moment with Ortega, and Ortega just drawing one or two United players onto him. He has options to his right and left-hand side. Eventually he's going to pass it. Still not done it yet. He finds Kovacic. Kovacic can drive forward and find Rodri. Rodri helps him back to Kovacic. Kovacic can go out wide to De Bruyne. De Bruyne goes back to Stones. Stones now with United very much congesting that central area. Rodri on to Kovacic. Kovacic out wide to Guardiola. Guardiola steps in and plays it back to Ake. Ake leaves it for Stones. Stones back to Ake. Ake to Rodri. Back he goes to Ake, still inside the City half. On it goes to Foden. Foden plays it inside to Kovacic. Kovacic just inside the United half. It's very much a City possession game, and United are very much allowing them to do it. Now Rodri steps forward into the final third. Back it goes to Kovacic. Kovacic now helps it on to De Bruyne. Back it goes to Ake. Ake helps it out wide to Guardiola. Guardiola inside to Kovacic again. On it goes to De Bruyne. De Bruyne to Kovacic. Kovacic helps it across to Stones. Bernardo Silva joins in the central area. On it goes to Kovacic and then Foden. And Foden to Kovacic. And on it goes now to Stones. Stones advances. It really does look as though this is a City home game. You just can't believe how United are playing. It's almost as if they're playing for penalties with the still 71
I didn't expect anything else, though. I thought they'd sit like that. I thought they'd wait and delay. I think that's the best chance of getting something from it. City really haven't had great opportunities, so you can have all the ball, all the possession. Now we've got to create, make a run, 1v1 situations, another bad pass as De Bruyne just pushes it. That's Josko Gvardiol down to that left-hand side. So good movement, good momentum, but it's got to be a little bit more clinical. Find a 1v1, go past someone, a bit more of a forward sort of direct pass for me.
Once or twice, City have got into good positions, but their final ball hasn't been there, which I guess is a feather in the cap for United, who from a throw just thump it into the air. And away it goes from Kyle Walker, picked up by Martinez. Martinez helps it on into the gap for Mainoo. Mainoo helps it on to Rashford and on to Mainoo, and now United trying to counter. Mainoo plays it to Fernandes. Ball over the top's a beauty. Rashford loses it to Walker, and Walker, that's not a good ball, but then it was won back by Stones. Just a little careless there, the Blues. They lost the ball and then won it back, and then they've lost it again, and eventually it goes back to Ortega. So when United do get forward, they do have a threat and a menace. They've got quality players. They're bound to have a threat, and the truth is that Fernandes and Garnacho and McTominay and Mainoo. Kovacic loses it inside the penalty area, then Ake has to clear it, and it was a good press from United this time, and City now can counter. There's lots of United players out of possession, and the ball is with Haaland. Good tackle, and no, it's not a good tackle. Referee says a foul, and Walker's fallen heavily.
Yeah, he's not in a good place, Kyle Walker. He doesn't stay down like that. He's just literally fell on his back. Load of uncertainty in that play there, wasn't there? City overconfident, trying to play little triangles. He's up on his feet, which is a good sign. He's probably just winded himself as he lands on his back. But the excitement levels went up. City taking chances. Kovacic almost a penalty as he slides right across the front of the 6-yard area. So close as McTominay presses. Is there any contact? A little tiny bit. Bottom of Fernandes, and when he does get caught, he seems to go down quite quickly. He's asking the referee for something. Not for me.
No, VAR, if they did look at it, certainly dismissed it incredibly quickly. So City free kick, ball's on halfway with Rodri. Walker's okay, by the way. Fell heavily, but seems to be all right. Stones inside the City half. The ball in City possession, as it has been for most of the opening 22 minutes. Kovacic on halfway. Plays it infield to Stones. Stones just inside the City half. No real pressure on him, so he helps it out wide to Bernardo Silva, hugging the right-hand touchline up against Dalot. Comes inside, loses the ball. United get it back through Dalot, and now Rashford. And there's a foul by Bernardo Silva. Through kick to United. About 12 metres inside their own half, in the shadows on the far side. So City 0, United 0. The Blues have dominated possession, but haven't really fashioned much. Had a big scare when the ball was played out from the back. Kovacic was caught in possession near the penalty spot, but United couldn't get a shot away. Now they're coming forward down the right side, United, with Garnacho. Garnacho steps in off the right side, helps it on to Mainoo and on to McTominay and into Wan-Bissaka and down to Garnacho. Garnacho takes on Ake, and he's helped it out of play for a City goal kick. City goal kick, much to the delight of the City fans.
Yeah, really good defending. Nathan Ake is flourishing this season, getting better and better. Just has that aura, stays up, doesn't dive in, realises he's in a good position. Garnacho just tries to sneak under his right arm and sees it out of play, but now City, similar to United, first pass into the goalkeeper, they decide to sit with a press of the four, but obviously on the two holding midfield players trying to stop the passes going through the centre. I think City to do that, I think you can hit Haaland earlier, straight into his feet, bounce from there. I think he's strong enough to do it, he likes that.
Yeah, they've bypassed it by going wide to Guardiola, who's now dashing down the left-hand side. Wan-Bissaka's up against it. Guardiola near the corner flag, helps it backwards to Kovacic. Kovacic, on it goes to Rodri. Rodri helps it out to the opposite side, Bernardo Silva. He's got Dalot in front of him. Drifts forward, Bernardo Silva on his left foot, plays it to De Bruyne. On it goes to Walker, Walker back to Stones. Stones helps it on to Kovacic, back to Stones. Stones away from Fernandes, out wide to Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva wide on the right-hand side. Plays it backwards to Kyle Walker. Walker helps it infield to Rodri. Rodri helps it out to the left-hand side to Guardiola. Guardiola brings it down in the left wing position. Plays it back to Ake. Ake now infield to Rodri. Rodri helps it on to Walker. Walker to Foden and back to Stones and on to Kovacic. And City still dominating possession, but United, to be fair to them, have plugged the gaps pretty well. If the concentration remains the same, then City will find it difficult to break them down. It is a very deep block United are deploying. Foden in the right wing position. Further over is Bernardo Silva. Takes on Dalot on the inside, finds Foden. Foden on to Kovacic. Kovacic round the outside. It won't break for a City player, and United will get it away. And City just opened up United there, but Mainoo's tied it up for United. And Wan-Bissaka, he's under a lot of pressure. Hits it anywhere, straight to a City player. They've done that with regularity, United. Giving it away when they haven't had any options. Rodri on to Kovacic. Kovacic midway inside the United half. Ball comes to Ake. Ake helps it on to Guardiola. Guardiola back to Ake again. City fans know that City are absolutely bossing this game, but so far yet to have an attempt on goal, really. The ball is with Foden. Foden in the inside right position. Helps it into Rodri in the centre circle. Rodri helps it on to Kovacic, gets it back again. Rodri looks to his right and plays it to Walker. Walker goes back to Rodri. Rodri in the centre circle. Helps it out to the left to Guardiola. Guardiola down the left-hand side. Got Wan-Bissaka inside of it. Haaland and De Bruyne. It's De Bruyne that gets to it. And now it goes back to Ake again. Haaland is isolating, but he's trying to get himself in between Varane and Lisandro Martinez. The ball is with Walker. Walker on to Rodri. Rodri down the inside right position. Plays it back to Walker again. United at the moment are sticking to the game plan well, plugging all the spaces and setting up deep and trying to maybe hit a quick ball on the counter. Now City to the edge of the area with Foden. Foden back to De Bruyne. De Bruyne about 25 metres from goal. Plays it back to Kovacic. Kovacic on to Rodri. Rodri helps it into the area. Haaland won't get to it. Now City look for the second ball. They won't get to it. United, goodness me, anywhere will do from Fernandes. Ortega will get to it. It's come a long way out of his goal. Ortega helps it on to Walker. You could see what United were trying to do. Fernandes looking to get Rashford away on the one-on-one, but he overhit the pass and Ortega came and gathered it easily. City with Foden. Foden, well, the game plan's so clear. Fernandes is going to whack that ball to Rashford and hope he can sprint away from Walker, which is no easy task. City on halfway, take it quickly. That should be a booking because he didn't allow the kick to be taken. Letter of the law, that's a bookable offence. Just have to look at one of the rules in the rule book. If you stop a quick free kick being taken, you are cautioned. But on this occasion, Andy Madley hasn't done. Ball is on the left-hand side with Ake. Ake goes out wide to Guardiola. Guardiola facing his own goal, goes back to Ake again. Ake helps it on to Stones. Stones just level with the centre circle. Walks to the halfway line. No pressure on it. Goes out wide to De Bruyne on the left. Further wide is Guardiola. Guardiola steps inside. Helps it on to Kovacic. Kovacic now on to Walker. Walker out wide to Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva has support from Foden. Goes instead to Walker. Walker in the shadows on the far side. Now enters the sunlight, helps it over to the left-hand side, brings in Guardiola. Guardiola traps it, gets beyond Wan-Bissaka, who then played it off Guardiola and out for a goal kick.
It's just getting a little bit frustrating now. The lack of effort on goal. I think that'll be the next step. Pep Guardiola and his team, there's been some nice forward passes. The patience is there, runs have been good, but now you've maybe got to force it. Get De Bruyne on it. Try and get one of those shots wherever possible. Phil Foden let one go. Play to Haaland a touch quicker. And United taking such a long time on these set pieces. City's press is higher.
Well, Onana's gone long and he's giving it straight to Rodri. So all that delaying, all it's done is delayed City getting on the ball, but then they give it away. And Amrabat can come forward. And he goes backwards instead to Dalot. Dalot hits a long ball looking for Garnacho over the top. Garnacho's on the chase. And Guardiola's headed it past the goal and Garnacho scores! Well, an absolute calamity. A backward header over the top of Ortega and Garnacho couldn't miss. Communication was the problem. A ball over the top. Ortega and Guardiola on different wavelengths, and the header over the top straight to Garnacho, and Garnacho headed it, tapped it into the empty net. A disaster for the Blues, but that's exactly what United's game plan was all about.
Well, they were going to sit in, they were going to wait, and sometimes when it's that easy, when you're just stroking the ball around, you get a little bit complacent, your concentration levels, because you're comfortable, you're looking good, you're making passes. But it's that wrong one from Rodri. He tries to play it around the corner. Then that direct pass over the top. Guardiola just tries to play him offside, but unfortunately, he's getting a look over the line. John Stones maybe needed to be one step higher. And as Ortega comes out, he's in a strange position. He's looking to probably head the ball. Guardiola heads it over him. And it's a simple tap-in. Can't believe his luck. Garnacho just rolls it into the bottom corner. Huge mistake for City.
Well, there is the United game plan in a nutshell. Allow City. Now City have got to break down United sitting deep with the mistake having been made. 30th minute, Garnacho with the opener. City haven't yet had an attempt on target or off target, but they're on the edge of the area, but the ball is thumped away by Varane.
Well, it's his patience now, Alan. It's patience, just forget the occasion, stick to game plan, start moving the ball around again, a little bit quicker. In the right positions, Manchester United have a little spell, feel like they're going to get somewhere. I feel like the tempo playing in front of them gives them half a chance. It's really looked good to the eye, but we've not had a shot on target. I think we've had one shot. So from that, that's the next step.
Well, there's around 12 and a bit minutes to go in the FA Cup final of 2024. And United lead by a goal to nil. A mistake between Guardiola and Ortega. Ortega came charging to the edge of his area, and Guardiola mustn't have known where he was, headed it over the top of him, and Garnacho ran onto the loose ball and scored. And now United have won it back because Haaland was dispossessed. Rashford goes backwards to Dalot. On it goes to Rashford and on to Mainoo. Mainoo charges forward. City win it back through De Bruyne, but then United win it back with Fernandes, and on it goes to Wan-Bissaka and into the possession of Garnacho, and United are thinking this could be their day. The ball comes forward. Remember, United led the derby at the Etihad Stadium when Rashford scored, and then City made it 3-1 in the end. The ball is with Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva played it forward, but it's given away. It's the first time City have trailed in this season's FA Cup, by the way. The ball is in the possession of Varane. Varane goes backwards to Amrabat. Amrabat has to go back to Onana. United looking for time-wasting tactics from very early on because they want to nudge in front and stay there, and that's exactly what they've done. They lead by a goal to nil. Here's Mainoo. Back to Wan-Bissaka, on to Garnacho. Guardiola's in front of Garnacho, and he's fouled by Garnacho. Free kick to the Blues in the left-back position. Guardiola helps it into Stones. Stones comes forward. Remember, City have trailed in lots of matches this season, and a record of having trailed in games is absolutely magnificent. The fact is that they've got an unbeaten run of 35 matches in all competitions. De Bruyne can't quite get to it, slid out for a throw on the far side. City 0, United 1. Garnacho with the goal. City throw. Walker just inside the United half. Ball in his right hand. Throws it back to Stones. Stones No pressure on him. Helps it on to Kovacic. Kovacic out wide to Guardiola. Guardiola into Foden. Foden goes back to Guardiola. Guardiola on to Ake. 10 minutes to half-time. City yet to fashion a genuine clear-cut chance. And they trail in the cup final. Ball goes out wide to Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva helps it back to Walker. Walker to Rodri. Rodri in the middle of the pitch. Hips it out wide to the left to Guardiola. Guardiola. Wan-Bissaka in front of him. Goes back to Ake. Ake. United still defending the spaces really, really well. Their shape is excellent. Their concentration good too. Kovacic on to Haaland. Haaland can't control it. Away by Martinez. Up to Stones. Stones helps it out wide to Walker. Walker has Rashford in front of him. Walker plays it backwards to Stones. Just inside the City half. Sorry, Michael.
Yeah, I'm just looking. Seeing two players having an early run. Jeremy Doku did really well last week. Kanji as well, so I think that might make a change at half-time. I'll be looking at that. Long way to go in this football game, but he always looks to change whenever things like this happen, when he feels like just not getting what he wants from his team. I think the wider positions as well, we've got to create a couple of 1v1s. I think you've got to push those fullbacks into spaces they don't want to go to.
Yeah, I think United's best chance of winning this cup final is to win it 1-0. I can't see them winning it in any other way, as Bernardo has the first attempt on target from City, and Onana gathers it very, very simply.
Yeah, good shot. I don't mind that. Let's get it going, get some momentum, try and put some pressure on the goalkeeper. Then things start to open up, because you're thinking the next one's going to have a shot. The defender will then come and pressure. A little slide passes become on. They've had it quite comfortable, the two centre-backs, to be able to stay exactly where they want. Just obviously start to move the ball now. Varane will be playing like that all day.
Another ball over the top. Garnacho's onside. City are backpedaling here. Garnacho plays it across. Rashford taps it in. The offside flag is raised. It might be a tight one. It might be a tight one. At the moment, it's 2-0 to Manchester United. The flag's gone up for offside. And if it was against Garnacho, not Rashford. But again, the United game plan has worked. And unless this is wrong, let's have a look. No, he is offside this time, but it's a tight one. Oh, actually, look at Walker on this near side. Do you know what? It might be tighter.
The first view we had, it looks like he's definitely offside, but you just never know that camera angle.
No, it's been cleared. It's been cleared, so it is still 1-0. Offside against Garnacho. But it was a tight one. Make no mistake about it. It was a tight one. So City are living a little bit dangerous on the counter-attack. This is United's game plan. It's working really well. Full marks to Erik ten Hag. The ball is on the halfway line with Stones. Stones into Guardiola out wide. Guardiola goes back to Ake. The reality is that City are struggling at the moment to open up Manchester United. 7 minutes to half-time. City 0, United 1. Garnacho after a mistake between Ortega and Guardiola. The ball is now with Rodri. Rodri darts into the penalty area. Rodri clays it back. De Bruyne can't control it, and United get it away. And now it's Fernandes, and United will look to charge forward here on the counter. On it goes to Mainoo. Mainoo helps it out wide to Rashford. Rashford looking for Garnacho on this side. It's a lovely ball as well, and Garnacho gets to it. And United are doing really well on the counter. Garnacho, Fernandes on the edge. Rashford, goal! Sorry, Mainoo. 2-0 United. Kobe Mainoo makes it 2-0. Well, United on the counter have been simply brilliant, and they've opened City up again. And Kobe Mainoo's made it 2-0. And can you believe what you're witnessing? City 0, United 2, 6 and a bit minutes to half-time.
Rashford plays a sensational pass right across the field. Josko Vardiol narrows up, but Garnacho down that right-hand side. I said early on, he's had too much space. He's got the shot, the strikes, but he doesn't go to cross it. Bruno Fernandes drifts into the edge of the penalty area. He doesn't take the shot, and it's a clever, clever pass. Kobe Mainoo's continued the run into the penalty area, and as it just flicks into his path, it's a lovely, lovely finish. Side-footed right across the goalkeeper into the far corner. Ortega, no chance. Manchester United clinical.
So, City 0, United 2. Garnacho and Kobe Mainoo have given United a terrific advantage in the 2024 FA Cup final. And the reality is that City have barely offered anything, even though they've been in complete control of the ball. United's counter-attacks have been devastating. City have got it all to do. They have come from 2 goals behind before this season. They're going to have to do it again. Remember, if they can score twice, the game will go to extra time. The ball is in the possession of City and Kovacic. Out wide it goes to Guardiola. Guardiola helps it back into Ake. Ake now comes forward. City could do with a goal ASAP to give them a platform to build from. De Bruyne, and now Kovacic, and now Stones. Stones comes forward, out wide to Guardiola. City just haven't fashioned a genuine chance. Just one shot from Bernardo Silva that was easily saved by Onana. The ball is with Guardiola, and now it's with Rodri. Rodri takes a little step away, helps it out to the right-hand side, brings in Bernardo Silva. Kept on the far side, tackled by Dallo, goes out for a City throw. De Bruyne takes it from Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva on to De Bruyne. De Bruyne around the outside, across the face of the goal. No one can get a touch. Goal kick. How many times have City got into that position, but how many times has it ended going out of play for a goal kick?
And finally getting in behind De Bruyne, that late run into wider positions, a give and go. Nobody goes with him. Lovely reverse pass. It's a fabulous ball right across the face. Haaland just couldn't get on the end of it. No one from the far post as well, but that's what De Bruyne does. Gets into areas. Now Pep needs to demand more from the team. He needs to get them organised. The counter-attack needs to be stopped. They need to get a little bit tighter, Garnacho.
Yep. The ball again hit long, looking towards Rashford. Stones cushions the header away. Walker goes back to Stones. Stones, he's giving that away to Fernandes. United pick it up on the edge of the City area. Fernandes in a shooting position, hits the shot, it's blocked by Stones. Another attempt from United, another piece of excellent play from them. You have to say their game plan has really worked to a T. And City just haven't found a way to break them down. City's...
You know United can score goals. That's a given. But it's City. All the play that we've had, haven't created. Haven't run them the other way. Some freak goals, obviously. Guardiola mistake. That's what happens in these moments, in key games. We haven't seen that from City for a long period of time, but the first goal does change the outcome of the game, and now to find something, dig deep, be interested in half-time team talk, I know that.
Well, it will be. It might not just be a team talk, it might be a change or two as well. City have got the ball with Walker. They've had the ball for the majority of the first half, but it's United who have that wonderful-looking scoreline. City 0, United 2. Mainoo and Alejandro Garnacho with 2 goals, with United sitting deep, making the spaces as small as possible and counter-charging. The ball is with City down the right-hand side with Walker, the inside right position. He stops, plays it on to Bernardo Silva down the right. Bernardo Silva, City need a goal. The ball is with Rodri. Rodri back to Bernardo, thumped away though by Dallo into City territory. And Stones goes to retrieve it. 2 minutes to half-time. City have the ball on the left-hand side with Guardiola. Guardiola back to Ake. Ake stepping forward. Inside it goes to Rodri. Rodri in the central midfield position. Helps it on to Kovacic. Kovacic loses the ball, then gets it back again, and it breaks for Walker. Walker out wide to De Bruyne. De Bruyne takes on Rashford, keeps on going De Bruyne, then loses it to Dallo. And Rashford can bring it away for United, and now McTominay darting forward. Was he fouled? Referee says yes. Free kick to United, 15 metres inside their own half, and well, you have to give full marks to United's manager and the game plan and the way that the players are executing it, Michael.
Well, when you're leading, right at the brink of half-time, 2-0 against this Manchester City side, you'll take anything. But they've waited, not give City really any space or any key opportunities, and you know they have the chances. Like I said to you, that the first goal changes everything. It's a poor mistake, and one more counter-attack, and City just haven't been sort of clinical, like normal in the areas. And Haaland's not had an opportunity yet, so you've got to change something, to change it quickly.
Well, City have got the ball, they've had it for so long in this game that as yet they haven't really tested Onana. Just one shot from Bernardo Silva that he fielded easily. City coming forward with Guardiola, helps it inside to Kovacic. Kovacic turning away. Plays it into the gap for De Bruyne. Good tackle. No, a foul by Mainoo. Free kick to City. Yellow card for Kobbie Mainoo. So a yellow card for Kobbie Mainoo. The first yellow card of the match goes to their second goal scorer, Kobbie Mainoo.
Yeah, he's laughing as if there was no contact. So just get another look at it. Comes right through the back. Kevin De Bruyne. One of the studs might even hit quite high on the outside of his right ankle. Just on the bony bit. So the uncomfortable. We're just having a look now. Timings of goals in key moments in finals. It's been one of those because Manchester United have been desperate just to get in, have a rest, regroup. So they have been put under pressure, but I don't think the pace of City's been quick enough, so it's allowed them to wait, get next to each other. That's why it suited them.
So a free kick to City in the first of 2 added minutes. City trailing by 2-0. Just too far out to shoot. De Bruyne's going to guide it in, and United are going to gather it easily. It's been that kind of half for City. They've got to the final third, but when they've been in it, they haven't found a killer ball. And they'll go away feeling frustrated at half-time that they've just not managed to be their usual effervescent selves. The likes of Foden, De Bruyne haven't really had an impact. Haaland's barely touched it. And even though the Blues have had the ball for such long periods in the game, they just haven't found that opportunity. As the ball is cleared by Wan-Bissaka with Haaland chasing it. Dallo in the left-back position. Ball goes forward into Fernandes, helped on for he hoped Rashford, but Stones is there for the Blues. Well, getting to half-time, Michael, what is your assessment of what we've witnessed?
I just think it's classic counter-attack from an underdog team who've given everything to limit space, and the City have just played. It was too comfortable for them, too easy. Let's move the ball around with ease and thinking, wow, we're cruising, this is going to be a comfortable day. But haven't really gone anywhere with it, and that's why the mistakes happen when you're in a comfortable situation. Rodri pass doesn't get to the intended target. Diagonal passes, Manchester United using pace. They're celebrating already for Martina. I mean, it's a bit premature. Hopefully City can come and wipe that smile right off their face.
So the half-time whistle sounds with a scoreline that literally nobody predicted. Even the most optimistic United fan didn't predict. Alejandro Garnacho pouncing on an error, a ball forward which Guardiola descended on with Ortega coming at him at speed. He nudged it over the top of Ortega and Garnacho hit it into the empty net. And then another excellent counter-attack. Ball played out to Garnacho. He crossed it in and Mainoo tucked it in. And City have barely offered anything, even though they've dominated possession. And so at half-time in the 2024 FA Cup final, the Blues have it all to do. It's City 0, United 2. Well, quite extraordinary events here at Wembley. Literally nobody had predicted this. In fact, most had predicted it would be 2-0 at half-time to the Blues, but the reality is that underdogs with quality, with players who can hurt you, have always got a fighting chance. Like a heavyweight boxer throwing a few haymakers, you are never out of a contest when you have the likes of Garnacho and Fernandes and, in this case, Kobbie Mainoo. City have been in control of the ball, they've dominated possession, they've looked the better team in terms of their control of the match, but United have looked a bit more threatening, and other than really a Bernardo Silva shot from distance, they haven't really tested Onana. The half-time scoreline that you have to say is credit to United's game plan, their manager and their players. It is City 0, United 2. Well, in a moment I'll be throwing down to pitch side where I can see Natalie and Paul Dickoff and Sean Gota are all gathered, just waiting for the microphones to get plugged in. So City, in truth, haven't threatened enough. They've got to the areas that matter, they've got to the final third, they've looked in control of things, but United have defended the spaces superbly well. And City just haven't had the likes of De Bruyne and Foden at their best at all. And when United have had the ball, they've looked for that quick ball over the top. A couple of times it's worked for them, and on the 2 occasions that it worked most devastatingly, they have scored. One from an error between Guardiola and Ortega, the other a really good move, an incisive move as well, and Garnacho, the goal scorer of the first, set up Mainoo for the second. So City 0, United 2 in the 2024 FA Cup final. The reality is that City have never lost against United on a neutral venue in the FA Cup. They've met them in a semi-final, they've met them in a final, and they've won them all on neutral venues in the past. In fact, in one semi-final, it was played at Bramall Lane, and City won that one as well. So the history will make you know that City have got the edge over United in these one-off games in the FA Cup. But, the truth is that from the very first blast of the whistle, you could see what United were trying to do. They were trying to get that ball up to Rashford down the left or Garnacho down the right and just go at City down the sides. And once or twice Rashford has got close, but Walker has got there first. Once or twice it hasn't got to a City player, mainly down the other side, where the reality has been that Guardiola had been advancing down the left, and Garnacho got away from Guardiola to set up the second goal, and also, of course, Guardiola headed it over the top of Ortega as well. So those 2 errors have given City a genuine problem. OK, well, they're now ready for us down at pitch side, so let's join Natalie, Paul Dickoff and Sean Gunter.
So it's half-time in the FA Cup final, and City are currently losing 2-0. But fear not, because I'd just like to take the chance to remind you of another game that we were 2-0 down in at Wembley. And then I looked to my left and see Sean Gunter and Paul Dickoff, and remember that City only need a matter of minutes to score 2 goals. And then, of course, as well, just remind you all, Manchester United were 3-0 up when they played Coventry in the semi-final, and that went to 3-3, should have been 4-3. So, not to panic yet. There's a full 45 minutes of football to go. But, Paul, what's gone wrong in that first half?
Look, we dominated the game, as we do. You've got to give United credit. You know, they've set up with Amrabat, Mainoo in there. They've made it really difficult to break them down. But we knew they were going to try and hit us in the break, you know, and they've done it a couple of times. It was one in early doors, first couple of minutes, and Marcus Rashford got put in behind, and Kyle's pace got us out of it. But look, bitterly disappointing half, dominating without really creating any chances, you know. And United, you've got to say, deservedly 2-0 up.
Sure, why have we been particularly shaky at the back today? What have you made of that?
Well, I think certainly with the first goal, it was just a bit of miscommunication, and I think Guardiola's perhaps got it under control. Guardiola's got it under control, but he doesn't probably see that the keeper's advancing. So whilst he's thinking he's heading it back to the keeper, our keepers come out, and therefore it leaves it with an empty net. So that there's a little bit about communication. And also with that particular goal, Fernandez has given a quality ball sort of over the top, so he's allowed that little bit of time to find that pass. I would say Fernandez's pass for Mainoo's goal, I think it was an exceptional pass. It was really good, because when he receives it, we're thinking he could actually shoot, as I'm just seeing it up on the screen here, that he could shoot, but he just flicks it around the corner to Mainoo, who is goal side on the right position on the outside of Walker, who puts it in. So from their second goal was certainly a really good goal. For me, I think that it was always a possibility that United could show up because there was no pressure. And I always felt that it was a case of, in the first 20, 25 minutes, it was important for us to go ahead. But as you say, our team are very, very exceptional at being able to not only score a goal, but score 2, 3, or even 4. So I wouldn't push the panic buttons too early.
Yeah, I was pointing as we were seeing the goals on the screens inside Wembley. We haven't had the benefit of replays yet, so we were seeing those goals there again for the first time. Something happened though in the first couple of minutes. Again, we've not had the benefit of a replay, but within 2 minutes there was a good shout. Certainly Pep Guardiola was going crazy on the touchline for a push on Erling Haaland. Did you see it, and what was your instant reaction?
From where we were sitting, it looked a definite penalty. Any refs not give it, me and Sean are saying it's go to VAR, he's got to give it. And one of the main reasons for that is, I know we've only seen it live, we've not seen the replays back. Erling's going to hit the ball in the net, so he's not going to. He's not going to dive. You know, and he's come in, as he's jumping, he's getting ready to head it. It looks as if he's been Barca in the back. So, as I said, we've not seen it again, but it looked a definite penalty. And I think everybody around was really surprised it wasn't given.
Interesting, they've not shown that on the highlights either, which sometimes I think they don't do because they don't want to rile people up. But we'll look forward to seeing that one again. So United opened the scoring in the 30th minute. But before that, Paul, we had seen glimmers of City looking not as solid as usual at the back. Are you worried at all that perhaps they were feeling a little bit overconfident in the way they were knocking it round?
I wouldn't say overconfident. I just think there's the way we play is quite expansive, and sometimes we do leave ourselves a little bit open at the back. You know, we play with a high line. For the second goal, I think Josko, who's been absolutely fantastic, he's got to come out and engage Garnacho a little bit early. As soon as he takes his touch, he's got to do everything he can not to back into the box. As soon as you back into the box, you're causing yourself a big problem. And they have looked a threat on the counter-attack. It'll be interesting because the last 10-15 minutes just in front of us here, Jeremy Doku and Mainoo Akanji were warming up, and even when the half-time whistle went, they were on the pitch for 5 minutes, were warming up. So maybe Pep might be thinking of changing that a little bit, although very rarely he does change it at half-time, but the way they were warming up, it looks as if they've been told that they possibly could be going on.
So the first goal for Garnacho coming from a bit of a, is it fair to say, a communication error between Guardiola and Ortega? A mix-up, Guardiola's headed it out. How's that happened?
Well, Ortega's coming, initially, from his initial gut feeling, he's thinking he should come. But thinking about it, he shouldn't, because Guardiola's got control of it. Guardiola's in control, he's getting to it, he gets to it, and he's thinking he's heading it back. So that fraction of a second of a decision, it's slightly the wrong decision. Now, at the same time, I think as Guardiola's running back and he shoulders Garnacho, as he shoulders him as a 50-50, he should see that our keeper's come out. Once he sees he's come out, he should be then probably heading it away from goal to then give himself a chance to recover, because it's not a natural pass back. It's like heading it wide to get onto it to then clear it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. What did you make of it, Paul? Communication error?
Yeah, a little bit of communication. You know, I think Sean's right. Once Stefan sees that Guardiola's in control of the situation, he can maybe just put the brakes on a little bit and back off to give because the margin of error then's a lot bigger. You know, Josko heads it the way he does and Stefan backs off, he catches it quite comfortably. At the same time, Sean's bang on. You know, when you're in that position as a defender, not that we've been in it very often, you're told, you know, head it away from the goal if you possibly can. But look, we're talking about two players who have been absolutely exceptional, so we're not good. We can give them a little mistake every now and then.
Absolutely, yeah. Now, before the second goal came, United did have the ball in the back of the net again, but thankfully that one was ruled offside. And then the second goal coming from Mainoo, you mentioned it a little bit earlier, the ball from Fernandes, but again, we were just cut open at the back, which we rarely see from City.
Just another long ball over the top, you know, which they've obviously worked in it, because every time they get a little bit of time in the ball and there's no pressure on, they're just looking to hook it on, not necessarily pass it, they're just looking to hit areas in the wide areas to try and get us in the back foot. And then once Garnacho, as I said, once he gets one-on-one with Josko and Josko's backing off, it's so difficult as a defender. But Sean's right, you know, the ball inside, everybody thinks Fernandes is going to shoot, but you know, you've got to give credit where credit due. It was a fantastic little ball and a good finish by Mainoo. But you're right, you know, they're a little bit too open at the back, and I'm sure that'll get sorted at half-time.
And Mainoo, who's had a standout season for United as well.
Yeah, really matured. First half, he's had really, because you're thinking, okay, could this be a game that's overwhelming for him? But he's really stood up to the challenge, and not only that, he's going to step beyond. He's got himself on the score sheet, which shows you he's not even thinking defensively, he's actually getting himself up into the box, into that area where it matters to make a difference. So he's had a really good half. I think from City's point of view, it's about Fernandes, and when he has the ball, I think they've had a communication with Fernandes and the front players. Don't think, am I going to play it? I'm going to play it, because it's both. There was one time he got it. He just hooked it in the corner. And I didn't even think Rashford was anticipating it, but he just hooked it in the corner, and Rashford opens his legs and sort of tries to get onto it. So it's trying to nullify him having the time.
Before we go, let's just finish on a positive note. I said it before, 2-0 down you both were, and you came back. City have done it time and time again. QPR, Aston Villa, we were 2-0 down. We've got it in us. This team has got it in us to come back and win 3-2.
Absolutely they have. They've got it well within them to go and do it. You know, they're going to have to up the performance levels a little bit. There's no doubt we can do it.
We can do it, Blues. Believe, keep the faith. Think of all the times that we've done it before and think how sweet it's going to be if we come back and win this 3-2. We'll be back here at full time where hopefully we are watching Manchester City lift a trophy.
Well, welcome back. It is a position that literally nobody I spoke to.
two come out, I felt, well, that's a definite. You can see the changes, obviously tweaked the back four today, Pep Guardiola, Jeremy Doku as that attacking threat. That'll be an interesting one-on-one on it with Wan-Bissaka. He darts down that left-hand side, but Manchester United coming out confident, looking to go long, push it straight back to Onana. City got to find a reaction. This could be a really interesting second half, but City got to get control, got to get hold of it. You can't get counted again, though.
Well, you've got the feeling this will be one of the most glorious victories in recent times, or it'll be one of the most depressing. One way or another, you just feel City have got to get the game's third goal. They trail by 1-0, 2 goals to nil, I beg your pardon. Alejandro Garnacho and Mainoo with the goals in the first half. In truth, City have barely threatened the United goal. Just one shot from distance from Bernardo Silva, which was fielded very comfortably by Onana. And despite all the possession that City have had, United's counter-attack plan has worked to a T. And Erik Ten Hag, who's certainly been the subject of lots of speculation, will sit there and say, I have absolutely got this game plan just right. And here come United again. They've broken City down. They're charging forward through Dalot. Dalot comes forward. He takes on Walker. Gets to the edge of the area, but Rodri should win it back. But Mainoo's there. And Amrabat. And now Rashford. Rashford infield to Dalot. Well, United will be pumped with confidence, Michael. That's a fact.
Yeah, they will. But there's a long way to go. So to bop it around, City relentless. They've been a machine for a long period of time. They know how to play through these situations. The only thing I don't like is that they're going to have to rush it a little bit. I ask for more pace, more tempo, but still with a controlled element. As this game goes a little bit longer into that 60-minute mark, they will be taking a big risk in going for it, but it's going to be exciting, it's going to be open. Outrageous effort.
Rodri saw Onana off his line and hit it from inside his own half. Onana, just for a second, was backpedaling furiously and probably was a little bit nervous about where that was going. The reality is it went over the back of his net. But if Rodri's trying something like that, that's perhaps a sign that City are going to maybe not be as patient as we anticipate from them.
They'll have spotted that. That'll have been something that they'll have said. He pinches a few yards. If you get opportunity, try it. See if we can create something. You don't mind it, do you? When
nope.
He did it okay. Just went over the top of the net. At least you're trying something, trying to push forward.
And here comes Rashford round the outside, couldn't control it. Again, a ball over the top that kept City backpedaling and looking a little bit nervously over their shoulders. It's been a really good game plan from United. They've executed it superbly well. And I guess the only question that anyone will be posing is, can they keep it up for 90 minutes? If they do, they'll win the FA Cup. If they don't, you imagine it will be a terrific comeback victory for the Blues. They have it again, City, with a Akanji. On it goes to Guardiola. Guardiola out wide to Doku. Doku to take on Wan-Bissaka. Comes inside, goes back to Foden. Foden's gone into the central midfield area. On it goes to Rodri. Rodri outside to Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva steps in. He got Dalot in front of him. Still with Bernardo Silva. Comes across. Oh, he's given it away straight to Amrabat. And now McTominay. City just don't quite look themselves today. It's puzzling. You're almost doing double takes when the likes of Rodri is firing shots from halfway, and Bernardo Silva is giving the ball away from a position of fairly simplicity. And now United escape the press as well with Wan-Bissaka. And on it goes to Garnacho and back to Amrabat. Amrabat under pressure. Ball goes backwards to Varane. Varane turns away from De Bruyne. Hits a lovely ball inside to Amrabat. United growing and growing visibly in confidence as the game goes on. Onana under pressure from Haaland. Probably took too many liberties. Gave it straight to Doku. Doku battling with Wan-Bissaka. And then Fernandes picks up the loose one. Fernandes comes forward and they'll look again to hit that ball long. No, they don't. They go short to Mainoo. And back it goes to Wan-Bissaka. There's a real element of confidence and self-belief about United. And the ball comes forward and Fernandes gets to it. And City is stretched here. Oh, stones his foot in the nick of time. Otherwise, United were in for another one. And City have lost the ball and there's a foul by Guardiola. Well, it's not quite happening, is it, City? Michael Brown?
That's what I'm saying. When you lose that little bit of control, Guardiola is pushing the ball out of his feet and the referee decides that's a foul. But lots of things that are happening are now strains because you're behind, you're trying to rush, you're trying to force it. It's a good counter again from Manchester United. Overlap was on. Bruno Fernandes just couldn't get that line of passing. John Stones so just getting that foot out, but now Manchester United get to settle, get to wait. They're delaying it wherever they can. Ten Hag just talks with his coaching staff and be absolutely delighted with his situation. Possible delivering a trophy and also leaving the club.
Fernandes plays it straight to Doku. That was a dreadful piece of football from United. Now Doku, under pressure from Amrabat, loses the ball. Wan-Bissaka picks it up and charges at City and gets to the edge of the area. Out wide to Garnacho. City throw. Just not like them at all. Lots of uncharacteristic errors from the Blues. Long throw on to Doku. Doku with Amrabat. Doku gets the better of Amrabat. Amrabat comes back at it. Doku now. City going a little bit more direct, a little less patient. Ball goes back to the halfway line to Akanji. Akanji comes forward in the 6th minute of the second half. Ball with Rodri. Rodri in centre field. Goes to the left-hand side. Plays it to Doku. Doku up against Wan-Bissaka. Inside it goes to Guardiola. Guardiola looking up. Plays it back to Akanji. Akanji out wide to Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva up against Dalot. Bernardo Silva coming inside. Hits the ball towards Haaland. Headed away by Martinez. Akanji's cushion ball. Now with Doku on the left-hand side. Doku takes on Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka sticks with it. Doku comes inside, finds Guardiola. Guardiola helps it on to Stones. Stones, well, he's got to turn and go away from the goal. Plays it to De Bruyne. De Bruyne trying to find Foden. Back to De Bruyne. De Bruyne loses the ball. And City win it back with Guardiola, but it goes straight to Onana. And again, a feather in the cap for United, Michael Brown.
De Bruyne is trying to thread the passes. Oh, reverse pass from Phil Foden. Manchester United getting in and around the press. The numbers, the way they're packed out the middle, they're quite compact, they're quite close to be able to get you obviously in recovery, but frustration starting to mount. City supporters, so just looking to try and get behind the team, trying to get something for them. De Bruyne chasing around, but they've got to start reacting quicker.
Well, United get it up towards Rashford, helped on to Mainoo, back to Rashford, Rashford inside to McTominay, City again are backpedaling, ball goes out wide to Garnacho, City really are in trouble here, Garnacho into the penalty area, ball across to McTominay, McTominay collides with Rodri, Akanji loses out, United win it back again in the penalty area, City win it back again with Akanji, on it goes to Rodri and now to Doku, Doku charging down the left but still inside the City half, he's got no support so he keeps on going, loses out with a foul from behind by Bruno Fernandes, who should be booked because it's the second or third time he's done that. And again, there's no booking for Bruno Fernandes. City have got the ball with Rodri. Rodri trod on the ball but then picks it up again. Crosses the halfway line. United's counter-attack really giving City genuine problems in the penalty area. City have the ball with Walker. On it goes to Rodri. Rodri midway inside the United half finds Haaland. Back it goes to Rodri. Rodri outside to Doku. Doku up against Wan-Bissaka. Across comes Wan-Bissaka to stop him. Doku comes inside. Backwards it goes to Foden. Foden tries to slip it through. It's stopped by Amrabat. Picked up by Guardiola. Guardiola now to Doku. Doku now into the penalty area. Into Foden, mishit it. And Onana gathers it easily. Puts his hands on his face, Phil Foden. That was a chance, but he couldn't take it in his stride.
Jeremy Doku causing problems. Just feed him, just get him on the ball. Just plays the ball into the centre area. Phil Foden just comes across, tries to flick it towards goal. Unlike other times, he gets good connection. He misses with the left foot, just hits that right shin. Just runs away from Erling Haaland also, but a bit of movement down below. Julian Alvarez has got his kit on. Another chase from Tan.
Well, City have got it now with Doku. Doku attacking Wan-Bissaka. Doku into the penalty area. Back towards Foden. Haaland against the crossbar. Haaland's first chance of the game, and he thumps it against the bar. Well, it's happening. You can just see it, as well as having possession. City are starting to find gaps. If City can make it 2-1, well, anything could happen here. Rodri now on towards Stones. Stones goes out wide to Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva up against Della. Plays it backwards, does he? Yes, he does. Back to Stones again. City fans behind the goal. City are attacking, trying to play their part. Wide it goes to Doku. Doku now in the left wing position. Doku takes on Wan-Bissaka. Gets beyond Wan-Bissaka. Tackled by Wan-Bissaka. Corner for City.
What a passage of play. Good work, left-hand side. Jeremy Doku causing problems, but as the ball comes right across the face into Erling Haaland, that left foot we know, he sweeps it around, it's the far stanchion right on that top corner. Crossbar rattled and City keep momentum on, but how it doesn't go in.
Well, a City in-swinging corner from De Bruyne. Onana comes and punches, Amrabat clears it, Walker picks it up. City have plenty of options, of course. The ball is with Foden. On it goes to Rodri. Rodri back to Guardiola. Guardiola inside to Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva to De Bruyne. De Bruyne, ball into the penalty area, out for a goal kick. Not quite happening, but it did a minute ago, and City hit the bar. Now here comes another change, and it's De Bruyne who's coming off. Kevin De Bruyne's coming off, and Julian Alvarez is coming on. Michael?
Yeah,
your thoughts?
Yeah, interesting choice. They're just looking around to see who he's going to change. And Kevin De Bruyne is a strange decision, but he gets another player at the top of the pitch. Whether he's happy or whether he's not, a little look at Kevin's reaction. He just wants the team to do wherever he can. But Alvarez, you know he's going to press, you know he's going to cause problems. And big decision that from the manager.
Well, it's one of those decisions that maybe we'll look back on in 35 minutes' time and say that was the moment that Pep Guardiola showed his genuine genius. We've seen it so many times since he's joined the club. The ball is with Walker. Walker goes back to Akanji. Akanji crosses the halfway line. Comes forward into the shadows. Plays it into Walker. Walker into the gap for Alvarez. Alvarez into the penalty area. Another City corner. No goal kick. Goal kick, says the assistant. Lisandro Martinez says it hit Alvarez last, and the assistant on this near side agrees, so it's not a corner. Well, Onana's taking as long as he possibly can to dispatch this goal kick. We won't be surprised to see United killing the clock. City 0, United 2. The Blues have made 2 changes at half-time. Kovacic and Ake came off. They've made another in the second half. De Bruyne came off. City have it in the middle with Rodri. Rodri now darts forward. Plays it out wide to Doku. Doku up against a different player now. Varane's in front of him. Doku comes to the edge of the area, finds Alvarez. On it goes to Stones and then to Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva back to Stones. Stones clips it in. Headed away, no it's not. Rodri will pick it up on the far side. We're going to see a siege. The ball comes in again. It's above Haaland, up into the air by Dallo. Foden can't quite get to it. Bruno Fernandes thumps it away. Stones wins it back. Bernardo Silva picks it up. Oh, it's not a great ball. Picked up by Garnacho. Garnacho on the chase, but Guardiola's too strong for it. City really are dictating and creating chances. In the first half they were in control but didn't fashion chances. Here they come again with Rodri. Rodri now driving City forward. On it goes to Doku. Doku into the penalty area. Takes on. Hits the shot. It's blocked by Wan-Bissaka. Amrabat comes to clear it from the right back position. Nobody's there for United. Picked up by Akanji. It's going to be a siege. Can City make it 2-1? The sooner they do, the sooner you think this game will turn on its head. But it's still 2-0. The ball is with Rodri. They're attacking the end where the City fans are going to do what they can. You can probably hear them now. The ball is now in City possession with Alvarez, who's just come on. Alvarez plays it to Rodri. Rodri out wide to Doku. Doku up against Wan-Bissaka on the left-hand side. Doku looks to his right, comes inside, still with Doku. Taps it into Guardiola. Guardiola helps it across to Walker. Walker thinks about shooting and does! Brilliant save by Onana. Wonderful hit by Kyle Walker. Terrific reactions from Onana.
Oh, what an effort. Not known for strikes, is he? Kyle Walker pushes out of his feet, going right in that top right-hand corner. Goalkeeper gets across quickly, good save.
City have taken the corner short, goes back to Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva on the edge of the area finds Alvarez. Alvarez with Amrabat in front of it, helps it on to Doku. Doku with Wan-Bissaka in front of him. Ball goes back to Walker, on it goes to Guardiola. Guardiola back to Walker again. Walker now out wide to Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva up against Bruno Fernandes on the edge of the penalty area. Still with Bernardo Silva. Back it goes to Alvarez. Deep ball to the far, cleared. Rodri will pick it up on the far side. It's an absolute siege. Ball comes in again. It's almost no goal. It's flicked over for another corner. Varane it was who got there first. It really is a siege now.
Yeah, great delivery. Manchester United just staying right back in, but City just keep coming.
Yeah, Alvarez on the edge of the area, trying to thread it through. Alvarez over the bar, good chance. If he'd have hit through it, it was in the back of the net. He got under it, and it went over the bar.
That's a big chance. He's just got to guide it. Not so much power. Just use that left foot. Down to Onana's right. Just that pass, composure. The ball stops. It's perfect for him. But he's trying to thread it. As he comes forward, he was under a lot of pressure, to be fair to him. When you get another glimpse, every Manchester United player coming forward, but just getting another look as well, that Walker effort. It sort of cuts across it, moves away to the left-hand side. Goalkeeper, strong left hand, you would expect him to save that.
Yeah, the chances are now coming. They didn't in the first half, they have in the second. Onana's been busy. The crossbar came to his rescue as well from a Haaland shot. There's half an hour to go at Wembley. It's the 2024 FA Cup final. City 0, United 2. Goals from Garnacho and Mainoo in the first half. One an error, the other really well-worked counter-attack goal. Now United in City territory. Bounces off Bruno Fernandes, goes out for a City throw near the corner flag. It's a right-back position. Walker has the ball. Walker's just told to go back a few yards. He's right by the corner quadrant in the defensive third. Walker looks up, hurls it down the line long, looking towards Haaland. Dallo's fouled him, free kick to the Blues. Bernardo Silva taps it back to Walker. If City can make it 2-1, anything can happen. But at the moment it's still 2-0, but it's still all City. Rodri blocked off, and the ball breaks from Bruno Fernandes to Rashford, and now Fernandes plays it across. Good ball, McTominay. City are stretched here at the back. McTominay tried a shot, wasn't the best decision, and City get that one away. Bernardo Silva inside his own penalty area, inching forward as he plays the ball. No, he doesn't. Dummies. Now he goes across to Ortega. Ortega's never lost an FA Cup tie, remember. Let's hope that record stays intact in 28 minutes' time. The ball is with Foden. Foden now on to Stones. Stones getting towards the edge of the centre circle. Plays it inside to Akanji. Akanji now in the centre circle. Akanji looks up, plays it across to Bernardo Silva. No, it's Alvarez. Alvarez picks it up in front of Bernardo. On it goes to Stones. Stones in the central area. Now Foden and back to Guardiola. Guardiola coming forward, plays it to Doku. Doku taking on Wan-Bissaka. Doku up against Wan-Bissaka, comes inside of it. Still Doku. Oh no, that's not the right ball. And it's gone out for a goal kick. Got to be patient.
He just tries to slide the pass, Phil Foden late run. But it's not something you would expect from Jeremy Doku, is it? Is that like that pass? He's De Bruyne, somebody like that. But he's got other strengths. He's been running at players. Some great skill on that wide left area. He's done well, hasn't he? At the start of this second half, Jeremy Doku. And just feel like that chance for Haaland into the crossbar. That doesn't go in. It's a big blow for me. I think it would have changed things so much. And yes, you've got to keep going at it, but we are starting to run out of a touch of time.
Well, there's 27 minutes still remaining, but that clock will go down very quickly because the Blues are trailing 2-0 here. Rodri in the centre circle, helps it on to Stones. Stones inches forward, back to Rodri. Rodri through to Foden. Foden into the gap, good ball. Alvarez misses. Another golden chance. Alvarez misses. It was beautifully worked, and he passed it out of the reach of Onana, but beyond the post.
That was a great forward pass. The run was perfect, but his first touch for me was just not out of his feet. Phil Foden with that reverse pass. The first one was under, the second one wasn't clear to push it onto his left foot under a little bit of pressure. And then he couldn't wrap his foot, that left foot, because the ball's inside him to go across the goalkeeper. Gets it horribly wrong as it just drifts past that far post, and Arna celebrating on the floor.
He did, and then he took about a minute and a half to get the goal kick away. And, well, I can't imagine Andy Madley's going to add on as much as he should do, but at the moment, United have got the ball with Mainoo. Loses it to Rodri. Rodri helps it back to Ortega. Ortega, under a little bit of pressure, hits a long ball up towards Haaland. Haaland, well, he was held by Lisandro Martinez. Referee waves play on. Varane picks it up for United, guides it back to Onana. Onana with 25 minutes just over to go. Hits a long ball up towards McTominay. Stones gets there and then misses it. McTominay picks it up. And now Rashford. Rashford on towards Dalot. Dalot up towards the final third. Still with Dalot. Dalot on the edge of the area, and then he went for something out of the ordinary, and it missed by a mile. City goal kick, 25 minutes to go. City trailing by 2-0. First half goals, the first from Garnacho, the second from Mainoo. City coming forward with Akanji. They've hit the bar, they've forced Onana into a terrific save. They've hit one over the bar and one wide of the post from Alvarez. The chances are coming, but City haven't hit the goal, and they must do sooner rather than later. Akanji now on the halfway line. Walks into United territory. On it goes to Walker. Walker now looks across to his left-hand side, then to his right, finds Alvarez. Alvarez comes forward. On it goes to Foden. Foden comes inside, plays it across to Walker. Walker now spreads it to the opposite side to Doku. Doku now brings it down on the chest, up against Wan-Bissaka. Plays it inside to Guardiola. Guardiola on to Stones. Stones tries it, and it's well over the bar. Just not sure that was the right decision.
Yeah, Pep Guardiola on the pitch, clapping above his head. He's getting better situations now, wider areas, but Manchester United, Haaland, Johnny Evans were stripped, they were ready to go. The manager sort of sent them back. They now just obviously just put a bib on as they do a little bit more of a warm-up, so that will be a change, won't it? Striker at the top of the pitch, stay away from that false nine. Johnny Evans, the experience. Who's struggling? Is it Varane? Is it Martinez? It looks like they're getting ready, closer coming on.
One goal kick from Onana, taken down by McTominay, loses out to Akanji. Foden picks it up under pressure, helped on by Rodri, breaks for Foden. Foden on to Doku. Doku facing his own goal, takes on Wan-Bissaka. Good tackle by Wan-Bissaka. Amrabat now guides it back to Varane. Varane will now guide it back to Onana. Onana looks up, sees Haaland coming towards him. He'll have to go long, he does. should be won by a City head. Guardiola heads it on. Foden picks it up. Amrabat's gone with him. Amrabat muscles him out of it. And now McTominay, and now Amrabat, and now Fernandes, and now Garnacho. And City is stretched at the back here. Garnacho into the penalty area. Hits it straight at Ortega, and it goes out for a corner. Well, they've still got that threat, United, and Ortega's made an important save.
Yeah, he does well. Pushing it down towards that byline. He hits it so well that it moves, and Ortega uses that chest, make himself big. It's causing problems down that right-hand side. Luckily, his effort was into that near post. Now set piece for Manchester United. McTominay's got the height. Gallo just coming forward. Varane has just had a little bit of a treatment. Now he's just drifting in the back post. Is anybody aware of him? He's come really late.
He has come late. The ball is driven towards him on the far side, and he maybe got a brush on it. Bernardo Silva picks it up for the Blues, and it goes out for a City throw just near the corner flag in the right back position. It was just a collision between Bernardo Silva and one of the United substitutes, Johnny Evans. Don't think Bernardo Silva meant it. He slipped and collided with it. The ball is with Rodri. Rodri inside the final third, hits it to the far side to Guardiola. Guardiola pushing header back to Akanji. Akanji goes back to Ortega. Ortega helps it on to Walker. 22 minutes and counting. City still need 2 goals to force the game to extra time. Ball into the gap for Haaland. Haaland chests it down. Amrabat can't get to it. Haaland helps it into Bernardo Silva. City still inside their own half. On it goes to Akanji. City need a goal and quickly. Akanji diving forward, crosses the halfway line. Wide it goes to Doku. Doku now up against Wan-Bissaka once again, taking him on down the left-hand side. Passes it in field to Guardiola. Guardiola into Foden. Foden into Rodri. And then Foden couldn't find a way through, and Onana gathers it. And United again defending the spaces pretty well with 21 minutes to go now.
Yeah, he just goes all the way with them. Phil Foden tries to get the return, gets blocked. Using your body as a player in the middle of the pitch, just standing your ground, stopping people get the other side here is important. Some people will say it's a foul, but on the other hand, you'd say really you're doing your job. It's a little bit cute. It's just died a little bit. The chances were coming thick and fast, and they haven't had one for a couple of minutes now.
They haven't, but if they can pull it back to 2-1, anything's possible. Wan-Bissaka's done well in front of Doku, plays it to Amrabat. And Garnacho, and back to Wan-Bissaka, away by Varane, looking towards Rashford. Walker's there in a battle with Rashford. Looked like a foul by Rashford, but Walker gets to the ball anyway. Guides it back to Ortega, 20 minutes to go. That clock goes down very, very quickly when you're behind, and the Blues are. The ball is with Rodri. They trail by 2-0. They've had chances in the second half, make no mistake about it. Alvarez has hit one over and wide. Haaland's hit the crossbar, and, well, we've got closer and closer. Now Doku into the penalty area. Doku now in that penalty area, goes for the shot, right across the face of the goal, and it goes out for a corner. City corner on the far side, on the near side. Right-hand side as we look at it from the West Stand here at Wembley Stadium. The chances have been coming in the second half for City, but they haven't found the goal, and now the United player has dropped onto the floor, and there's a signal that they're going to have to make a change. Well, they are a patched up Manchester United. Varane hasn't been fit for very long. Lisandro Martinez has not been fit at all. He's not lasted 90 minutes since February the 1st, and he's not going to last 90 minutes today either. So United, of course, are going to do what they can to delay every restart. How much will Andy Madley add on at the end? That's the big question.
Let's hope it's considerable amount. It's delaying the momentum. Just looking at Marcus Rashford, he's now saying, is he going to wait, not make that substitution yet? Haaland's forward. Guardiola just having a little think with the staff. Kyle Walker getting a drink, just wondering what can they do. Is there anything anyone spotted? Who needs to get the ball? It looks like Jeremy Doku's the favourite. Alvarez needs another chance as well, but this is taking forever. This just a delay over a little bit of cramp. There's 1 metre away from the touch line. Surely he can just roll him off. You know, he might have to come off for a while.
Well, he's on his feet, and I don't think he's staying on, Lisandro Martinez. Indeed, he's making his way off the pitch, and the City players are saying he could have taken the most direct route. Lisandro Martinez is now squaring up to Kyle Walker. It's taken an awful long time over getting off the pitch. Well, Andy Madley really ought to have told him to come off at the nearest point. That's what the laws of the game say. And now there's one or two United players mixing it up with the City players. Lisandro Martinez is now having a wild old go at Kyle Walker. And Amrabat's telling him to calm down. And now Andy Madley's telling him to calm down.
All Kyle Walker is saying, the shortest route. Why does he have to do the referee's job for him? It's poor referee. Just get hold of him, send him off to the pitch. We want to get going. It's taken far too long, and Kyle Walker's right, and the referee shouldn't even be talking, other than saying, let me have control. He didn't have control, though. But let's get on with the game. The delay is taking far, far too long.
Yep, so there's a double substitution. Rashford is coming off, Haaland's coming on, Martinez has come off, and Johnny Evans has come on. And all of that has happened before City are about to take a corner. And another United player has taken a very, very long route back to the sideline. The reality is that the referee should be on top of this.
He's just seen the last minute, yet he's let him walk right to the halfway line when he was on the edge of the 6-yard area.
So a City corner will eventually get taken. I reckon there was about 4 minutes wasted there. Anyway, it's a City corner, being in-swinger from Phil Foden. The Blues still trail 2-0 here. Rashford and Martinez off, Haaland and Evans on. Foden ready to deliver an in-swinging corner for the Blues. They need a goal, and soon, to build a platform for a comeback. They've had the chances in the second half. Foden clips it in. Headed away, should be another City corner on the far, it is. So another City corner on the wide right-hand side. Alvarez takes it short. No, he doesn't. He delays it. Rodri comes away from it. Alvarez with an in-swinging ball underneath Onana's crossbar. City must get a goal back soon, or this game might just be beyond them. Even their powers of recovery are being tested here. Ball into the area. And Haaland was wrestled to the floor. And Andy Madley says there's nothing wrong with it. And the City players are saying that has to be a foul. Let's have a look.
It's interesting when he touches his ear, isn't it? He touches his ear straight away. So he makes the decision, and why is he putting his hand on his ear as if to say, talk to me, talk to me? Have some confidence if you're going to make the decision.
Yeah, well, he was manhandled by Mainoo. Which part of legal is that, Michael? We're just looking at the replay. And Michael Oliver's agreed that that's no foul. Well, Mainoo is quite literally...
What they will say, is there enough clear enough to make it? Is there enough that the referee hasn't spotted on field?
Absolutely, so it's no penalty. So the ball comes forward, Stones thumps it into United territory. Up goes Doku, bounces off him, Alvarez picks it up, Amrabat comes with it. Alvarez gets there first and finds Doku. Doku now turns away. And he's under pressure from Haaland. Back it goes to Akanji. On it goes to Stones. Stones on the edge of the centre circle, advances forward. Plays it out to the right-hand side to Walker. Walker now goes back to Foden. Foden helps it on to Akanji. Akanji inside the United territory, midway inside it. Plays it to Guardiola. Wide it goes to Doku. Doku up against Wan-Bissaka. Doku plays it backwards to Guardiola. Guardiola onto Rodri. Rodri under pressure from Haaland, gets away from it. Plays it on to Alvarez. Alvarez onto Doku again. Doku now with Garnacho and Wan-Bissaka with him. Wan-Bissaka holds him off. Doku under pressure from Amrabat. Keeps the ball, plays it back to Alvarez. Alvarez helps it on to Akanji. Akanji midway inside the United half. Walker hits the shot, good save, and Haaland can't get to the rebound. Offside anyway. Offside anyway wouldn't have counted had Haaland got to the rebound.
Another good strike. Kyle Walker fizzing it right across the goalkeeper. He's tried one. Feels confident when he hits that one, so straight away unleashes a lovely, lovely strike. It's just the referee in a great position. He does get it right, the rebound where you're looking for Erling Haaland, but good strong save with his right hand as he dives for that far corner. It's just not really going for City, or sometimes just sneak in.
Yep. Fernandes has helped it out of play for a City throw. Walker will now throw it backwards into the possession of John Stones. Fernandes picks himself up after claiming a foul. Ball reaches Rodri. Rodri inside the City half, gets to the centre circle line, plays it out to the wide to Doku, headed away by Wan-Bissaka, picked up by Doku. Doku now bounces off Garnacho, keeps on coming Doku. Doku now, still going, loses out to Amrabat, free kick to City on the edge of the D. City free kick on the edge of the D. United players surrounding Andy Madley. The laws of the game say if you surround the referee, it's a bookable offence. Again, Andy Madley's not going out with the cards. You're not allowed to surround the referee any longer. That law's been changed. Bruno Fernandes is allowed as captain, and he's remonstrating, but he's not going to change Andy Madley's mind. Right on the edge of the D, free kick to the Blues, who need 2 goals to stop United from winning the FA Cup this afternoon in the second All-Manchester Derby Cup final. A foul on Doku. So, Foden with the left boot, Alvarez with the right, both of them looking at this with their mouths watering. The City fans behind the goal have got a wonderful view of this. The Blues need a platform for a comeback. Blues
position, isn't it?
It is.
It's a good position. This is where all the practice on those training grounds, these players do it hours and hours and hours after sessions, trying to find that right technique, the right control, the right person to take it as well. You just hope you can hit it really, really sweet. This is a big moment of the game. You do feel it's slipping away from City, unless Foden, who's been the man, especially against Manchester United, or Alvarez can find that way through.
City free kick. Foden hits it straight into the middle of the wall. Alvarez gets to the rebound, helps it out wide to Doku. Wan-Bissaka's nicked it off him. Tries to find Haaland, but Guardiola was in the way. Just doesn't seem to be happening today. They've hit the underside of the bar. They've seen Onana make a couple of saves. Alvarez has missed 2 good chances, one over the bar, one wide of the post. And United have taken their 2 chances, and indeed they took a third, but were in an offside position when they did. City are now 11 minutes away from losing the FA Cup to United. Just haven't had the sense that this has been City's day for a long, long time. Ball goes forward. City trying to win it back. Haaland in a battle, and he's won a free kick off Akanji, and it's in territory that Bruno Fernandes will fancy. Well, a third United goal, and even City's powers of recovery will surely be spent. It's a free kick in a shooting position on the right edge of the area. Bruno Fernandes hovering over the delivery of it. Haaland won the free kick, having not been on very long. Just looking at it, well, it was not too dissimilar to the Haaland tussle with Mainoo that wasn't given as a penalty. But of course, it's much easier to give it outside the box. So a free kick to United on the right edge of the City penalty area, just about in shooting range for Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes walking backwards, ready to thump it goalbound. City have got a large wall guarding the near post area. Bruno Fernandes puffs out the cheeks. Andy Madley blows his whistle. Fernandes hits it, and Ortega saves it very easily. 10 minutes to go at Wembley. City 0, United 2. The 2 first-half goals by Garnacho and Mainoo look as though they're giving the FA Cup to Manchester United, unless City's powers of recovery can come to the fore again. My goodness, we need it now. Rodri. We need a platform. Who's going to build it for us? The ball's with Rodri. Rodri advances midway inside United territory. Stones up to Bernardo Silva in the right wing position. Doku's over to his right side. Bernardo Silva into the gap for Rodri. Rodri into the area. Foden couldn't control it. Amrabat thumps it away. Walker picks it up. Wide it goes to Doku on the right-hand side now. Doku up against Dalot this time. Takes on Dalot, gets to the byline. Cross it goes, thumped away by Johnny Evans, and out for another City corner. Well, this weight of pressure hasn't yielded 1 goal, never mind 2. But if City could make it 2-1, well, what a magnificent grandstand finish we're going to have here. So Foden ready to hit an in-swinging corner. City desperate for a goal. Foden's delivery to the deep. Akanji can't get there. Onana punches it away. Picked up by Alvarez. Alvarez trying to get beyond Amrabat. Puts in a ball too close to Onana. Punched by Onana. Hooked away by Haaland up to Garnacho. And then forward by Mainoo. And on it goes to Garnacho. Garnacho up against Walker. Walker with the tackle. It's a throw on the far side. Garnacho rolls around. And he'll buy a few more seconds for United. time very much a United friend. Oh, in fact, he's given a free kick for a foul by Walker. So it's a free kick to United. They'll be able to take even longer over this. 8 minutes to go, plus added time. Goodness only knows how much added time there's likely to be, but the reality is that despite all City's threat, they haven't scored once, never mind twice. And Pep Guardiola has slumped deep into his chair. The City fans are starting to think that this doesn't look like it's going to be one of their days, and the reality is that United's game plan has worked, and the way they've executed it, well, you have to give them credit. The ball is in United possession. They've spent an absolute age wasting time in this second half. Andy Madley hasn't really been on top of them. Bruno Fernandes will take this free kick about 20 metres inside the City half. Bruno Fernandes looks up, hits a long diagonal ball to the far towards Varane. Varane got his head to it, and it goes, and it's a foul, or it's offside actually. Free kick to City. Free kick for offside. Ortega in a hurry to retrieve it. 7 minutes to go. 7 minutes here at Wembley for City to find 2 goals. It's as simple as that. Ortega plays it quickly to Rodri. Rodri on to Guardiola. Guardiola plays it back. There's a close-up of Alex Ferguson looking at his watch. Well, it's fascinating. We used to call it Fergie time. Can City score goals in Fergie time? Well, the ball's gone straight through from Walker to Onana. And even the Blues are making uncharacteristic errors now. They need a goal. They need inspiration. The ball is in the possession of Onana. Onana's taking as long as he possibly can before kicking this one forward. Haaland's trying to make it difficult. Onana hits it long. Up into the sky it goes. Stones can't quite get to it. Walker hits it forward, up towards Alvarez, who won't keep it in. United throw just inside the United half. And City are getting closer to defeat here. 6 minutes, they still trail 2-0. The ball is in the possession of Diallo.
You can talk about the setup, the game plan for Manchester United. I've had a lot of discussions with people for big games, how you set up, you plan and plan and plan about how you're going to actually beat your opponents or what you're going to do on the day. City had control, but it's like someone said to me, somebody slips, somebody makes a mistake, a human error, it changes the whole outcome. And that header just go Vardial over the top of the goalkeeper. That's what's happened. A key mistake, the wrong time has changed the momentum and the outcome, and unfortunately it could be cruel, this game.
It can indeed, but to be fair, this group of players has given us more than a few wonderful days out. The ball is with McTominay. McTominay loses it to Doku, then he's fouled by McTominay. Rodri wants to take the free kick. United won't back away. Ball goes to Bernardo Silva. We're reaching the last 5 minutes of the 90. City still 2 goals in arrears. The 2 first-half goals by Mainoo and Alejandro Garnacho. City come forward with Foden on the half-turn. Fouled by Amrabat. Free kick to the Blues. Shooting distance. Very, very central. The last free kick was hit straight into the middle of the wall. Free kick to City. Very, very central. Maybe just too far out to shoot. Who knows with the talents that City have got at their disposal. The ball placed down. It is very, very central. Alvarez and Walker discussing what they're going to do. Haaland comes out and has a word with Alvarez. City have got to score quickly. They need, at the very minimum, to get it back to 2-1 before the added time board comes up. The ball is in the possession of Alvarez. Alvarez, no, Walker taps it to Doku. Doku in the left wing position. Doku round the outside, across the face of the goal. United get it away. Bernardo Silva picks it up. Backwards it goes to Alvarez. Alvarez helps it on to Foden. Foden out wide to Doku. Doku on the edge of the United penalty area. Doku comes inside, hits a shot, and Onana can't save it! And Jeremy Doku scores! A mistake by Onana! And City have themselves the platform! City 1, United 2, Jeremy Doku, and City now have got the platform! We've seen them do it before, we've seen them do it many times! Can they do it today, Michael Brown?
Well, they can do it. There'll be a lot of added time as well. And let's hope that is generous. But he's played so well at the start of this second half. He just keeps trying, he keeps looking for little angles. But it's a huge mistake. Onana, he's been excellent in the game. but he just steps onto that right foot, that little shimmy, sneaks it in the near post, and he parries it into the side netting. Maybe a little bit unsighted. He's got to save it.
Yeah, he really does. It's a poor piece of goalkeeping. Now Onana's got the ball in his hands. The question now, how much added time will there be on top of the 3 minutes? The City fans desperate to get a second goal at their end of the field. Onana hits a ball high up into the sky. Walker lets it drift out of play for a City throw. Walker has it in his hands. He looks for someone, but no one's making a run. City with 2.5 minutes of 90 plus added time. It's City 1, United 2. Can they find a second goal? Can they take this to extra time? The ball is in the possession of Akanji. Listen to the City fans. They know, they feel it. The City fans have made a habit of watching their team and encouraging their team for late goals. Doku now, who scored the goal, takes on Wan-Bissaka, keeps on going all the way through, and then Foden can't get it. Anywhere will do from United. Akanji picks it up. 2 minutes of the 90 to go. The siege continues. Doku again takes on Wan-Bissaka, goes inside Doku, hits the shot which is blocked. Garnacho thumps it anywhere, up into the sky and out for us. No, it won't go out. It's kept in by Rodri. Garnacho wins it back though, and City now will get it through Akanji. City in complete control of this second half. They were in control of the first, but didn't fashion chances. My goodness, they fashioned chances in the second half. 90 seconds of the normal to go. The ball is with Walker. City need a goal to make it 2-2. Doku wide on the left-hand side, up against Wan-Bissaka. Trying to take him on, goes inside to Guardiola. Guardiola onto Foden. Foden too heavy. Rodri has to retrieve. Onward it goes to Doku again. Doku now to the edge of the area. City 1, United 2. Foden looking for a 1-2, cleared by McTominay. Akanji finds Walker. Walker goes back to Ortega. We're in the 90th minute here at Wembley Stadium. City 1, United 2. The reality is that there'll be a lot of added time. We're thinking just 8 though. It could have been 10, but the ball is still in City possession. Now it's with Akanji. Onwards to Alvarez. Alvarez now darts forward. Plays it inside to Rodri. Rodri clips it out to Doku. Doku against Wan-Bissaka. Doku, can he find a pass? He finds Guardiola. Guardiola helps it on to Akanji. Akanji tries the shot. It's over the bar. Over the bar from Akanji. Well, what's happening here? Andy Madley's been brought over to the side. What for? What for? I think there's
it's one of the assistants, because he'll be having a go about, I bet you the added time is what he'll be questioned. Guaranteed. I bet you there's not enough added time, and they'll be going crazy about it. Guaranteed.
Yeah. 7 minutes. 7 minutes of added time. Well, that is ludicrous. That is absolutely ludicrous. No wonder the City coaching staff are furious. The reality is...
What's he laughing for?
Just
He's putting the board up and then laughing when Pep say to him, why is it only 7? It's not funny, really, is it?
Not funny at all. 7 minutes of added time. No way it was just 7. Ball comes forward. Picked up by Fernandes. Fernandes now taking on Bernardo Silva. United getting to the final third with Garnacho. Garnacho takes on Akanji. Garnacho came off Garnacho, and no, it should be a goal. It should be a goal kick, Andy Madley. It should be a goal kick. It is a goal kick.
Well done,
it is
referee.
A goal kick.
Well done.
Yeah, it was
you don't
overruled.
realise when you make a mistake. He's done that.
Yeah. So we're into the first of 7 minutes added. City need a goal, or United are winning the 2024 FA Cup. Doku now, up against Wan-Bissaka, comes inside, finds Rodri. Rodri helps it on to John Stones. Stones looking for the pass, holds on to the ball. Midway inside the United half. Wide it goes to Doku. Doku takes on Wan-Bissaka. Still with Wan-Bissaka and Garnacho in Doku's company. Doku round the outside. It's a corner. City corner. City corner on the far side. We're into the second of 7 minutes of added. City need an equaliser, or United will win the 2024 FA Cup. Alvarez now. Alvarez waiting to deliver the corner. Can City get ahead on this? Ball into the penalty area. Onana catches it. Well, he'll take even more time over this. He's wasted enough time as it is. United want to make a double substitution to waste even more time. Onana's told to get on with it. It's a bit late for that. The ball is still in his possession. There are 5 minutes of added time remaining. Onana skies it, up into the air it goes, won by Guardiola. Rodri's header. Doku will pick it up on halfway. Doku under pressure, bounces off and wins a City throw. City need to get the ball forward. They need to find an equaliser. United are going to make another double substitution. Not surprised they're wasting time. Lindelof and Garnacho's coming off, he's one of them. And McTominay is the other one. So McTominay goes off, he's been told to go off on the far side. Lindelof comes on for McTominay. And Mason Mount comes on for Garnacho. So United wasting more time in the added time. Goodness knows they've wasted enough time in this game, but Andy Madley only added 7. City want to take this throw in. They're near enough on the halfway line. They throw it to Akanji. Akanji, listen to the City fans. Desperate for the Blues to find an equaliser. The ball is in the possession of Guardiola. On it goes to Doku. Doku takes on Wan-Bissaka, comes inside, holds on to it. Alvarez pokes it, but it won't get to a City player. Mainoo now drives United forward. On it goes and into the possession of Haaland. Haaland now takes it into the shadows on the far side, plays it back to Amrabat. United have got the ball where they want it, in the possession of their players. Wan-Bissaka plays it all the way back. Alvarez chases. Lindelof back to Onana. Onana hits it long. Walker will win this one for City. Heads it forward up towards Haaland. Chested down. Foden can't get to it. Breaks for Mason Mount. Mount now into Fernandes. United ever closer. And Fernandes went for glory. And it will be a City goal kick. City goal kick with 3 minutes of added time to go. Ortega, there are 2 balls on the field. McTominay might get booked for throwing the ball away, even though he was off the field. That's a new one. So a yellow card for McTominay. City now want to take the goal kick. 3 minutes of added time for City to find an equaliser. Ball goes out to the left-hand side to Guardiola. Guardiola. Well, I was in this stadium in 1999 watching City against Gillingham, 25 years ago, almost to the very day. And the Blues found a very late equaliser to make it 2-2 against Gillingham. Can they find a late equaliser? 25 years ago they did it in the playoffs. Can they do it today in the FA Cup final? The ball is with Doku. Doku inside to Guardiola. Guardiola helps it on to Akanji, on to Walker. Walker goes out wide to Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva taking on Bruno Fernandes. Can City fashion a cross here? Bruno Fernandes charged down, breaks for Akanji again. Akanji across to Guardiola. Guardiola now in central midfield. Guardiola looking up, plays it to Akanji again. Out wide it goes to Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva in the right wing position. Comes inside, plays a cross which deflects. Stones picks it up, it bounces off him and goes out for a goal kick. And United players punch the air because another minute will be eaten off the clock. Onana's in no hurry. Onana's in no hurry and the referee hasn't punished him once. We're into the 6th of 7 minutes of added time and City needed equaliser. The referee says to Onana, get a move on, but he's not booking it. He's not put any pressure on him to deliver this goal kick. The ball is in United possession. City are almost done here. Onana taking his time. Still Andy Madley doesn't punish him. Long it goes from Onana. Up goes Stones. Heads it. Ball goes back from Foden into the possession of Akanji. Akanji now helps it on to Guardiola. Guardiola looking up, plays it into Walker. Walker advances, gets beyond the challenge of Mount, plays it into the gap for Rodri. Rodri now getting towards the final third. Rodri into the penalty area. Out wide it goes to Doku. Doku up against Wan-Bissaka once more. Doku puts in a deep ball. It's held back by Bernardo Silva. Walker to hit it, miss-hit it. Haaland heads it, cleared by Mainoo. Alvarez gives chase. Haaland's just behind him. Alvarez was given a nudge by Haaland. The referee says play on. United have plenty players here. City are backpedaling. The ball is in United possession. City have given a free kick away. And I'm afraid United are about to win the FA Cup. And I'm afraid, Michael Brown, it's just been one of those days.
Yeah, very much one of those days. But, you know, a real strange feeling surrounding this whole game. Mismanaged at times, but the referee, not sure what decisions he's been making at times, but even just the added time. But it's not just the referee that's been the problem. You make mistakes at this level in key tournaments, big moments in matches, you do get punished. It was too comfortable for us in that first half, controlling 75% of the possession, moving it around but not really creating, and that's ultimately being the problem. Manchester United get their way in such a big day of football.
The final whistle sounds. There'll be no double-double for City. United's game plan, they've worked it well, they've executed it. And through Mainoo and Alejandro Garnacho, they have beaten the Blues at Wembley. One goal was all they could pull back through Jeremy Doku. It was too late in the end, and City fans trudge away feeling deflated. But we've had so many wonderful days, so many tremendous occasions to savour, that the Blues players are allowed one day when it didn't quite work for them, and sadly it was this day, the second successive Manchester Derby Cup final, and United have edged it by 2-1. Erik Ten Hag, whose very position has been the subject of masses of column inches, may well have pulled off a tactical masterstroke on his potential final game as United manager, if the newspapers are to be believed. City, though, had their chance.